I've generated billions and billions of dollars. You know, it's estimated in today's dollars somewhere around 25 billion around the world. A lot of people today know me as
superstar, TV king, author, infomercial king,
marketing genius, and all that stuff.
But then being stripped away of that sentence to 10 years, ended up serving about 8.
TV pitchman Kevin Trudeau will spend the next 10 years behind bars.
I'd served 8.5 years without committing a crime.
What is that like?
When I went to prison, I looked at it like J.D. Rockefeller did. Every adversity that you face, within it is a treasure chest. The universe does not do things to us. It does things for us. It is a gift from God.
Kevin Trudeau is a world-renowned entrepreneur, #1 New York Times best-selling author, and one of the most controversial truth tellers of our time.
You want to put me in jail? Let's go to court, baby.
He's a former insider in the elite secret society known as the Brotherhood.
And his book, Your Wish is Your Command, has remained one of his most talked about works.
Exploring the power of the subconscious mind and personal transformation.
How did you get into the Brotherhood or the secret society?
From the time I was born, I had the ability to see energy. Years later, this fellow walks in, an older guy, gray hair, and he goes, "You can see what's in the corner of the room, can't you?" And I said, "Yeah, I can see that." He goes, "So can I." He says, "I can teach you how to control it." I says, "I'm ready." He was training me of how to use my mind. I was given the entire puzzle of total success in life. And then I made several $1 million before I was 18. So many people just started coming to me saying, "Teach us." And I would teach them a system that I learned in the Brotherhood, the 40-point algorithm for success.
What's the most shocking thing you ever experienced in the Brotherhood or secret society?
Hi, I'm Kevin Trudeau, and I went from absolute zero to over $25 billion in sales, and now helping people all over the world improve the quality of their life and their standard of living. And I'm one of the passionate few.
Thank you so much for being on the show today, Kevin.
It's my pleasure. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. So a lot of people may know your story. A lot of people may not. You know, you've had some tremendous success early on. You recently became a free man in the last couple of years, and you're sharing principles to help people live their dreams, right? You obviously have the new book, Your Wish is Your Command. But before you became the Kevin Trudeau that the world over knows, take me back. Where did young Kevin grow up? And how did the ball start getting rolling for you as a kid early on?
Well, a lot of people today know me as either the infomercial king, because back in the 90s, I was known as the infomercial king, America's marketing guru, marketing genius, and all that stuff, or an entrepreneur. In Europe, most people know me as the founder of the Golf Channel, Shop America, which was a TV shopping channel. We beat Home Shopping Network. We came in second to QVC.
Wow.
So we did very, very well there. They had an entertainment channel in Europe as well. In Australia, they usually knew me as the mining guy because I had mining operations there. But a lot of people really don't know the whole story. I mean, yeah, I've generated billions and billions of dollars. And I'm not a motivational speaker, and I'm not a success trainer, although people today know me as that because of the book, Your Wish is Your Command, and some of the other things I've done. But my business started back in the 70s when I got into direct mail. Mm-hmm. My dad was a welder. I grew up in Lynn, Massachusetts. We're a blue-collar community. I never went to college. We had no money. And we were driving through this beautiful, rich neighborhood because my dad was going to take me fishing on the shore, right? You know, because we didn't have, money for a boat or a yacht.
Yeah.
Right? So we're going to go on the shore. And as we were driving through this rich neighborhood, I'm looking at all these big houses. And, my neighborhood was all these small, little, tiny houses with one little bathroom. No air conditioning. And I says, "Hey, Dad," I says, "what do these people do?" He goes, "Well, that's the doctor. He's the lawyer. That guy owns the car dealership. He owns the dry cleaning chain. He owns a glass company. He owns a real estate firm." And I kept hearing owns. So I was like, okay, I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to be a lawyer. Number one, I don't have money to go to college, and I'm not that smart. But I have to own a business if I want to achieve success in life. And so I really realized early on that if you want to become successful, you have to be your own boss. You have to own a business. You have to have a business of your own. So I thought, what can I do? I have no money. I don't know how to run a business. I have no money. And I'm 12 years old, 13 years old. So I read a book called 7 Steps to Freedom: How to Escape the American Rat Race by a guy named Ben Schwartz. And he talked about, I saw an ad in a newspaper for it, so I bought it.
How old were you at the time? Do you remember?
Like 12 or 13. And it was money from my paper route because I was an entrepreneur right at the beginning. I was shoveling snow and raking leaves and selling newspapers. I had a paper route. That's how I made some money. So I bought this little book. It was a pretty big book, actually. And it talked about going into direct mail, how to run classified ads or print ads and get people to either write in for more information in which you would mail them a sales letter, or they would buy your product, or you rent a mailing list and then put together a sales letter and actually mail it out and sell them something. And I thought, well, I could probably start that small and kind of pyramid the profits, because that's what it said to do.
Right.
And there was another book called The Lazy Man's Way to a Fortune by Joe Carbo, and he talked about the same thing. So I started researching this, and I just had a knack really early on of writing. I couldn't speak, by the way. People don't know that. I was tongue-tied.
Were you a shy kid early on?
I was very shy, very insecure, and I couldn't speak. I stuttered terribly, and I turned beet red. So being able to write and be behind the scenes was perfect for me.
Because you could express your personality, your intellectualism.
Correct.
You could experience and explore and express it, but not have to be the forward facing.
Correct. Yeah. So I was always a behind the scenes, very shy person, and I wasn't doing it really to make money per se, but I wanted the big house and the cars. But very quickly, when I was marketing things, and I was marketing reports on how to fix your credit and how to get loans and things of this nature, the letters that I got from the customers saying, "This saved my life." This now something instantly shifted. Instead of me running this business to make some money and to become successful, I was running the business to help these people. And that was, and I can tell entrepreneurs today, when you shift from doing your business and stop trying to make money and really focus on helping people, that's when everything's going to change.
How can people make that shift if right now they might be in a scarcity mindset, or they have bills due Friday, or they're plagued by the overwhelm of bills today, to open up that abundance mindset of serving people when you're trying to survive yourself?
Look, you have to always take care of yourself first and make sure you're stable. So yes, you do that first. But I'm talking about the businessman who's out there, who's trying to make his next million,
right,
or trying to make a lot of money, and he's focused on money, money, money. I want the Ferrari, I want the private jets, I want this, and okay, yeah, you want to make money and you're focused on that. The problem is you're going to go down a slippery slope. You're going to cut some corners someplace. You're going to do something to make more money at the expense of the customer, and that is a dangerous place to be. If a person is just struggling right now, okay, that's fine. That's a whole different dynamic. You need to cut your expenses. People always say, "I'm in debt. I have financial problems." Okay, fine. Stop whining and complaining and start basically looking at yourself and say, "I spent money I didn't have. I was stupid and foolish." Nobody wants to take that responsibility. Yeah. But I have credit card debt. That means you spent money you didn't have. You were stupid and foolish. Take responsibility. And if they take responsibility first, from that point of self-awareness, now you can fix it.
I love that you talk about that too, because I know early on one of your philosophies was how powerful the I am statement can be. Can you talk a little bit about that identity that is strengthened or weakened by the I am concept of how you communicate to yourself?
Yeah, the I am is actually completely misinterpreted today, because it comes back from the Old Testament when Moses was on Mount Sinai, and he was talking to God, the burning bush, and he says to God, what do people call, what's your name? And the Bible says, "I am who I am." Well, that's completely wrong. It's only in the Christian version. If you take the original Hebrew, which comes from Canaanite, it's always translated in English, in Hebrew, in the Jewish tradition. It's always translated, "I will be who I will be." It's the future tense, which means it's a moving creation energy. And that's very critical. So
why is that critical?
It's critical because you are a creative being. We're here to create, not to attain, but to create. People think, "I want this, I want this, I want this." No, you want to create that. That's really what gives a person joy, which is why the saying goes, the journey is the reward. Success is a journey, not a destination. That's where it comes from. If you have children and you go down to the beach and your child says, "I want to build a sandcastle," he doesn't say, "I want to have a sandcastle." He says, "I want to build one."
The process.
Right. Oh, you want a sandcastle, little Johnny? Okay, I'll tell you what. You sit here, just sit, and we'll build you one professionally. I got some engineers over here, and we're going to give you a sandcastle. He cries.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I don't want a sandcastle. I want to build one. Even if it's a disaster and a mess, it doesn't matter. The joy of creating is what we want. He wants to paint, even if it's a disaster. It's the joy of doing something. So we're creative beings. So I will be who I will be really is a creative essence. But the I am is separate than that. When a person speaks I am, whether it's your body, your mind, or your soul, the spiritual essence that you are, whatever you put after that is so incredibly powerful because it creates who you are, your inner self-image. So if you say, oh, I am such a loser. Oh, cancel. Say the magic words, cancel. You are crucifying yourself. You are setting yourself up to lose. You're programming yourself for failure.
One of my coaches taught me this concept that your subconscious can't take a joke.
I love that.
So if you say, I'm not good at that, or yeah, I suck at that, or that always happens to me, like ChatGPT, it doesn't know tone. It just takes it as an incoming command and identity. So I totally agree with that.
You know, I do something at my house for very high level people within my group. It's called fly on the wall training. It's what I had when I was younger. So I bring people in, they stay at my mansion, they live there for 24 hours. They can't speak. They're totally silent. They're invisible. They're a fly on the wall. And they just watch me and observe, and they can take notes. And at the end, they do a write-up, and I answer their questions. But they observe me, what time I wake up, how I operate my day, how I write my to-do list, how I make phone calls, how I do Zoom meetings, how I interact with staff or vendors or whatever, how I give orders, how I create, and so forth. And if I go someplace, they help in the Rolls Royce or one of the other cars I have, and we go someplace. But one of the things that's so common, because I talk to myself all day long, is everybody says, I can't believe how often he gives himself a pep talk. I'm constantly saying, I'm so good. I had a schedule as usual. I'm so efficient. I have such a good memory. It's like, where is that? Oh, I know it's in that file. I'm right. I have such a good memory. And I'm constantly doing that. I'm constantly saying out loud things that are programming myself for success.
Affirming.
And I'm constantly giving myself a pep talk. Wow. This is what a real professional coach will do. You screw up on the field, the first thing he says is he goes, shake it off. Remember that when we played school?
Of course, yeah.
Right? That phrase, shake it off. And that comes from a dog shaking off the water.
The dirt, yeah. Whatever.
Exactly, or whatever. He shakes it off. So if you screwed up, you can't have that energy as, oh, I made a mistake. Oh, I made an error. You got to shake it off because you can't have it on you. It's an energy that's going to create a vibration that's going to create more guck and junk and failure and mistakes in your life. You have to shake it off. So you have to get it, and somebody pat you on the back and go, get them next time. You need to get motivated. Well, we need to motivate ourselves. So we need to give ourselves those type of pep talks as well.
Hey guys, we'll get back to the video in a sec. But first, quick question for you business owners watching. How many different apps are you paying for every single month just to keep your business running? Email software, text platforms, booking apps, CRMs, funnel builders, project management tools, the list goes on. Sometimes adding up to hundreds or even thousands of dollars a month. Sound familiar? Well, thanks to today's sponsor, High Level, you don't have to juggle all that anymore. High Level is the #1 all-in-one marketing and CRM platform that replaces all those scattered tools with one simple dashboard. With High Level, you can capture leads, automate follow-ups, use AI to write texts and emails, manage clients, send campaigns, and even build websites and funnels all under one roof. Thousands of entrepreneurs and agencies are already saving money and scaling more profits faster with it, including me. And here's the best part. You and your business can get started today with an exclusive 30-day trial completely free if you click the link in the description below to sign up. So don't wait. Start your free trial and let's start growing your business today. Thanks to High Level for sponsoring this video. And now let's get back to the show.
And you talk about this concept of feeling good and how important that is. Why is that so important for people to anchor that? Because a lot of people think about doing stuff, right? Yeah. And you talk about, the ABAR philosophy, right? Like ask, believe, act, receive. How important is feeling good in that process and prioritizing that sense of self feeling good, affirming self, and why do you think so few people do it?
Well, it's very interesting because as we talked about, and actually Esther Hicks in her books, Asking It Is Given, The Teachings of Abraham, talked a lot about feeling good now. And it goes back to The Magic of Believing by Claude Bristol. And the Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz, the original one in 1959. Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude by W. Clement Stone, who I knew. He's the guy who got me smoking cigars, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll have to have one day.
I was at his house and he got convinced me. But all these people talk about you have to have a positive attitude, and that's akin to feeling good. Yes, you have to have a positive mental attitude, but it's misunderstood today. So I want to clarify it. But first I want to say this. I was being interviewed about this, about positive mental attitude, and the woman who was interviewing me was a real nasty person. And everybody in the studio kind of knew she was a real nasty person. And so with a real she says, "Oh, I bet you think you can do anything with a positive attitude." And I says, "No, actually you can't do anything with a positive attitude. But you can do everything better than if you have a negative attitude like you." And everyone cracked up, and she cracked. She goes,
Fair play.
You got me. Okay. And then she was my friend from then on.
Yeah.
Because that makes sense, right? You can't do anything with a good attitude of feeling good, but you can do everything better. But it's a misnomer because we think people grasp that and go, oh, all I have to do is all day long be in a state of gratitude and appreciation and thankfulness and go, thank you, I'm so grateful, I'm so appreciative, I'm going to look for the gold and everything, and I'm just going to work on feeling good now, and nothing's going to change. You get in your crappy car that's falling apart and you go, I'm so grateful and thank you. Why would the universe give you a different car? Think about that. You have to do something first. Do you remember Jim Rohn?
Of course.
Jim Rohn, one of the greatest trainers of success on the planet, trained Tony Robbins, actually.
That's right.
As well as John Grinder and Richard Bandler, who I know very well.
Yeah, from NLP, right? The founders
That's
of
correct. They
Neurolinguistic
invented
Programming.
it, and I knew Richard very, very well. But Jim Rohn, who's the nicest guy in the world, right? He never cursed on stage or anything. He said something which shocked everybody. He said the most powerful emotion when it comes to success, it wasn't manifesting back then, it was the most powerful emotion you need in order to attain your goals. It wasn't manifest your reality, it was attain your goals, is disgust. He says you have to find something in your life that disgusts you, that you will not tolerate anymore. And unless you can get disgusted with something, unless you find something that you will not tolerate, you'll never be motivated to achieve anything.
Wow.
Now, you don't live there. You visit there. So you have to find something in your life, like that car or that living situation or your credit card balances are too high. You got to find something that you will not tolerate anymore. You have to have pain. And only from that place of contracted energy can you do the next step in the formula of attaining your goals, which is clearly define what you want. So you can't define clearly what you want with a lot of obsession and power unless you have something you're disgusted with that you won't take anymore. You have to know what you don't want, not just don't want, will not tolerate. And from there, you can clearly define what you want. That's the only way you can do it and have that obsession and have that burning desire, as Napoleon Hill said. Napoleon Hill says, clearly define your dream or desire, define your desire, and have a burning desire for its attainment. Define your dream, define your goal, define what you want, and then get a burning desire for its achievement. You can't get a burning desire for something that you don't know what it is, so it has to be clearly defined. And you can't get a burning desire to achieve something if you don't have a burn right now in terms of something you will not tolerate in your life anymore. So you have to go through that cycle.
So you almost need something to, for lack of a better expression, run away from and to run towards.
That's exactly correct. Because as we know, people have talked about this for a long time. This is not new, that we're motivated more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure.
Yes.
So what you do here in the formula, and it's really an algorithm. I learned a 40-point algorithm in terms of how to manifest your desires or create your goals or, attain your goals. In that formula, in that algorithm, you have to do two. You have to activate the drive to get away from pain and the desire to attain pleasure. When you have both working at the same time, you're being springboarded from here and pulled here. So you're being pushed here and pulled here. That's when you can really, really create, manifest, or attain your goals faster than before.
I love that. And we'll dive into that a little bit. I got a few more questions on that. But I want to circle back briefly to, early on in the journey, because I'm fascinated at how you arrived here when you say you came from such humble beginnings. You started in direct response. How old were you at the time?
In my teens, at like 12 or 13 years old, I started my first company.
Yeah.
It was called Collegiate Enterprises International. And the reason I called it that is I knew I was never going to college. So I said, I'm going to call it collegiate because that'll make me feel like, oh, it's a college thing or some academic thing.
Yeah.
But I never went to college. Again, stuttered, virtually almost flunked out of high school.
Wow.
I wasn't doing very well.
And how much did you end up making in your teens doing direct response
I made
marketing?
several $1 million before I was 18 in direct mail.
So you made millions of dollars before you were 18?
Millions of dollars, and that's how it started.
What was your first piece? Like, how did you get your first opportunity to write your first direct response? Like, what was step one from
Okay,
zero?
so remember when I read these books, 7 Steps to Freedom,
Yeah.
it gave the basic axioms of success in business. And it's really simple. But let me back up first, because I was good at something early on. Before I did that, I remember my mom, she's from Italy, and she loved to cook. Thank God, which means I ate really well growing up.
Bon
So I had my
appetit.
grandmother from Italy speaking Italian, cooking, and my mother, and I'm like, we're eating like kings.
Were any of them named Maria?
Yeah, of course they were named Maria. Marie. Anglican Mary.
Yes.
But it was Maria.
Yes.
Okay. That's my mother. So we're cooking, and I said, how come you don't make cakes and stuff? She made like a ricotta cheesecake and some Italian cookies, but never these, Americanized cakes. Well, that wasn't her thing. So I said, well, I'm going to learn how to do this. I went down to the library, and I'm looking at cookbooks, and they actually had some pictures. And there was one cookbook I thought was really cool because it had a cake like in the shape of a butterfly. And I thought, I want to learn how to do that. That's like magic. How do you do that? And it was real simple. You took a round or square pan and then cut it into an X, and then you flipped them, and then you could, put the frosting on it and had a butterfly. So I thought, I'm going to follow the instructions. I take it home. So I go to my mom, hey, I need a pan 8 inches by 8 inches. Do we have one? Yeah, here, get away from me. Okay, so I need some butter. Yeah, here, don't bother me anymore. I need some flour. Yeah, go away. I need some eggs. Go away. I need a bowl. I'm getting all this stuff. So I get everything lined up. I read it start to finish to make sure I understand everything. And then I go to work. I follow the instructions. Put the flour in the bowl. Then put the baking soda. Then stir it together to make sure it's all combined. Then slowly add the liquid. And I'm just following the instructions to the letter. I follow the instructions to the letter. I cook it. I cut it. I put it together. I frost it. And then I bring it out to the family. It was a Thursday night. Never forget it. All my relatives come over the house on a Thursday night for spaghetti and all the Italian food. So the house is packed with people. And I come out so happy. I got this butterfly cake, this big, huge tray. And everyone is shocked. My mother is shocked. My aunt is shocked. My uncles are shocked. Everyone is like, oh my God, you're a genius. And I go, no, I just followed the instructions. This was not hard. And my aunt's like, I could never do that. I go, can you read English? Yes, you can do this. You just follow the instructions. Anybody can do this. You just do what the instructions said to do. So my aunt says, I'm going to try it. So I went over to her house, and she's not following the instructions. She's putting the liquid in first instead of I go, what are you doing? That's not what it says. Of course, it didn't come out right. Later on, I thought, this is why people fail. There is a recipe for success.
And they try to get creative with it.
And they do their own thing. It's like they don't even follow the recipe.
Yeah.
So for me, it was real simple.
Even if they had all the ingredients. Yeah.
They do it wrong. So when I was reading the book, it said, axiom for business, A, find a need and fill it. Right? People sometimes have heard that. Most young entrepreneurs have never heard that. One guy said, that's the most profound thing I ever said. I go, well, I didn't invent that. I go, that's been around forever. I've never heard it. I go, I don't know why.
Oh, yeah.
Secondly, tell me if you heard this one. Build a better mousetrap. Did you ever hear that?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, kind of. Okay, most people
Yeah.
have never heard that. What that means is you take something that's already selling very well, which fills a need that people have. I have mice, I need a mousetrap. Now you take that and make it better. That's build a better mousetrap. So that's how you become successful in business or pick a product. You find a need and fill it, or you find something that's already a huge success and make it better. Do something innovative to it. Build a better mousetrap. And that's what I did. So I said, fine. I'm not going to find a need and fill it. I'm too young. I don't know what people need, but I can build a better mousetrap. So I went and said, what ads are running in the National Enquirer? And then my aunt had like National Enquirers for like 3 years in a row because she would like stack them up. So I said, this is perfect. If an ad is running week after week after week for 2 years, it's working. Right? That makes sense. So I found a few. I go, those are working.
Proof of concept.
So now I write in and I find out what they're selling and how they're selling it. So I have their direct mail pieces, I have their ads, and I go, there's a mousetrap. Let me make it better. And that's all I did. Their sales letter was too long. And their book that they were selling was 300 pages. And I thought, I bet you people would be motivated if their sales letter was only a page long because it was quick to read. And if I told them, instead of a 300-page book, if I said, what you're going to buy is one piece of paper, which will take less than 5 minutes to read, and you'll learn the secret. Because one of the things that Ben Schwartz said, if you sell something, make sure it's quick and easy. So that's what I did.
Wow.
I built a better mousetrap. So I put together, I read what was out there, and I didn't invent anything. I just kind of repackaged a report on how to raise $10,000 in 24 hours, which was by opening up various bank accounts and getting overdraft protection, which nobody knew you could actually do that.
And how old were you at this time?
13, 12, 13. So I would mail this out, and the orders started flooding in. And this was cash money and money orders. I mean, this was no credit cards. I mean, so I would open up the thing and it'd be $35 in cash or a $35 money order.
Wow.
And I'm sending them one piece of paper. And
How did you know how to mail? How did you know how to get?
Well, in the book, 7 Steps to Freedom, and the other one, it basically gave me the instructions.
Yeah, and you followed
I
them
can
to the
read
T.
English, and that's why I told you the story about the cake. I know how to follow instructions, because to me, instructions are critical. Follow the instructions.
Yes.
Do what it says and do it in the order it says. There's a reason why they're there. And if you're not sure, either ask questions, get clarification, understand why you're being told to do that versus, Alton Brown used to have a show on the Food Network, and he would say, do this. And he goes, here's the reason why. Because he goes, if you mash the potatoes like crazy, it'll release too much of the starch and then you'll get gummy potatoes. And if you put in hot milk or a cold milk or cold butter, you're going to get lumps. That's why you want to have it at room temperature. So not only did he tell you what to do, but he told you why and what the consequences were going to be if you didn't follow his instructions. So I kind of like that. So that was how I basically started my business. It was just following instructions.
Wow. And so by the time you're 18, you make millions of dollars. I'm sure you have a renewed sense of confidence. What happens next? Where do you go from there?
Well, I was in an organization called the Brotherhood, which you can call a secret society. I had a mentor, which we called my uncle, and he knew about my stuttering problem and my insecurity and my shyness. So he said, I want you to read a book. I said, okay. And I was reading books like The Magic of Thinking Big and the Power of Positive Thinking and The Magic of Believing. Yeah. And I read, of course, Think and Grow Rich and The Law of Success in 16 Lessons. And I read many, many other books as well, Psycho-Cybernetics. And he said, I want you to read this book. So he gives me a book by a guy named Joe Girard, How to Sell Anything to Anyone. And it was about Joe Girard, the greatest salesman in the car business. And I'm reading this book going, I can't do that. I would have to actually talk to people.
Too much work, yeah.
I'll throw up. I'll pass out. I can't talk to somebody. And heaven forbid they said, no, they don't want to buy, because then I'll kill myself. Go in the back and put a gun to my head. So I read this. I told my uncle, I said, thank you for the book, but how does that apply to me? And he says, don't you think you need to do that? I go, I can't do that, you know?
Yeah.
And he says, well, why don't you make believe you could? I'll never forget that.
Wow.
Well, why don't you just make believe you could? Well, why don't you just like put on an act like you're an actor and be a person who could do that? And I
Act
thought,
as if.
Yeah. And I thought, because no one knows you. If you go to a dealership where they're looking for a job, nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows you stutter. Nobody knows that you're shy. So why don't you just put on an act of some other guy, like some crazy, cocky salesman, and act like that and see what happens? Do you think I should? He goes, well, I didn't give you the book for no reason. You know, I said, okay. Then the universe works perfect, man. The next Sunday, I open up the paper. There's an ad in there at Peterson Lincoln Mercury in Peabody, Massachusetts. Salesman needed. Experience only, need apply.
Yes.
Okay, so I go. I'm in a suit and tie. Peter Soros was the sales manager. I said, I'm here for the job. Sure, fill out this application. I fill it out. Of course, I don't fill out anything because it says, where'd you work before? It's all blank.
Right.
I lie about my age.
How old were you
17.
Actually? Yeah.
So I hand it in. He brings me into the office and he looks at the application for the first time and he's going, where have you sold cars before? I said, I've never sold any cars before in my life. And he goes, the ad said experienced only, need apply. I go, yeah, I know, but I was thinking about that. And I thought if a guy was experienced and he was so good, what would he be doing here looking for a job? And Peter goes, well, maybe he had problems at the other dealership or something. I go, do you want somebody with problems? I go, look, I'm a blank slate. You can teach me. I don't have to be untrained. You can train me exactly the way you want to sell right from the beginning. And I will work on straight commission, which means if I make a sale, I get paid. And if I don't, I do not get paid. So it doesn't cost you anything. He goes, no, if you blow out some good customers, it does cost me sales. I go, well, that's true. I says, but you really have less downside than if you hire some guy who has conflict problems.
Right.
He goes, when can you start? I goes, I'm dressed up. I can start right now. Okay, start. I says, well, the way I want to start, though, is by following the best salesmen so I can see what they're doing. Because I had already learned the concept of fly in the wall training.
Success leaves clues, yeah.
Correct. You watch and observe somebody else and then duplicate that pattern for success. So he said, well, there's the leaderboard right there with the top salesmen based on the number of cars they've sold. So I'm looking at the leaderboard and it says Dave Zola, Mark Zola, I'm assuming they're related, and a guy named Jerry Green, and then a whole bunch of other guys. So as I'm looking at this fellow walks in, an older guy, gray hair. He says, you're looking at the leaderboard. I says, yeah, I'm looking for the top salesman. I says, where's, Dave Zola? He goes, well, first off, Dave Zola sold the most cars last month, but I made the most money. I'm the third guy down, Jerry Green. He goes, if you want to learn how to sell cars, talk to Dave Zola or Mark. But if you want to learn how to make money in the car business, listen to your old Uncle Jerry. And I go, I don't understand that. So he explained to me how it worked, where you get a commission based on the profit. Those guys just keep lowering the price and they sell a lot of vehicles, but they don't make as much money because they get a commission based on gross profit, where Jerry holds the price and is a better salesman. And he goes, and I work less hours. He goes, I don't even work that hard. And these guys are always hustling. And so I watched both for about a week and learned how to sell. And then tried it, and then I got into that business. So that was the business that I got into to get over not to make money, to get over my shyness and to start training myself at being better at communicating with people.
How did you get into the Brotherhood or the Secret Society?
That was in 1969. I was 6 years old at a bowling alley. From the time I was born, I had the ability to see energy. And if you ever interviewed somebody who is classified as a clairvoyant or a psychic,
Sure.
Or an empath or something like that, almost all of them say that when they were born, they had the ability to feel energy, or in many cases, see energy, or see entities, or see into dimensions, or see auras, or read your thoughts, or know the future. They could see the past and so forth. And I was like that. So right from the beginning, I could really see all these dimensions. I didn't know what they were. I could see beyond the physical. When you look at something in this room, your eyes are only seeing a reflection of light.
Correct.
That's it. So a bat is going to see things differently than you do. Doesn't mean that these change. All we're seeing is a perception of energy. It's a reflection of light based on our eye's ability to see that reflection of light based on the spectrum that it can pick up. That's why a bat will see it differently and a dog will see it differently. Our ears do the same thing. When you start seeing in different dimensions, you're seeing from the mind's eye or the self, which means you're not seeing reflections of light because you're not seeing it through your eyes. And therefore, you're seeing what's behind the reflection of light, the energy. It's virtually just clusters of molecules, isn't it? I mean, we all know that right now, that everything in this room is made up of the same atoms. It's just put together different. And we also know that there's more space in something, whether it's this book or this table, there's more space in here than there's solid. It's 99% air or space. It's not even air because air
They're just
is
vibrating
stuff.
so tightly together. Yeah.
You don't see it, but it's emptiness really. It just perceives to be in this dimension solid. So with that ability, I also noticed that everybody else around that I was talking to was in a trance or asleep because I couldn't see that energy. So I could see the energy, and everybody else I was walking around was virtually asleep.
Did you know how to articulate it that young?
No, but I also knew that it was irrelevant and also ridiculous to even try because everyone was asleep. So they didn't. What was the point of even talking to them about something they couldn't even comprehend?
Right.
The mind cannot comprehend something that's beyond itself.
Right.
So I'm different. That's it. And I didn't see anybody that could see. Nobody was awake. Everybody was asleep.
Did you have any siblings at the time or friends when you were younger that you could relate to? Or
No.
like that?
I mean, I basically entered planet Earth, if you will, in this realm and engaged in that, but from a point of being a witness and an observer.
Right.
So I'm in this bowling alley, and all of a sudden I perceive somebody's in the room who's awake. I could sense it for the first time in my life.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, instantly, this fellow says, "You can see what's in the corner of the room, can't you?" And I looked at him, and he's awake. Wow. And if you can imagine, if I ever do a movie or something, I got to figure out how to actually visualize this, where everyone is in this trance, and all of a sudden, him and I are the only two that are awake, right? And I said, "Yeah, I can see that." He goes, "So can I. You can see what's up there. Yeah, you can see what's outside. You can see." And he goes, "But you can't control it." I go, "No." He says, "I can teach you how to control it." I says, "I'm ready." Wow. That was it.
And you were that young?
Yeah. And it was a different era back then. So if a young boy went with an older man,
there was no stigma.
It wasn't weird,
And you said you were how old? 6?
6, yeah.
Wow.
So he said, "Okay, fine." So now next Saturday when you come to the bowling alley, we'll spend a little time over there, have a Coca-Cola while your parents are bowling. Which was fine. We're amongst a big group of people and everything was good. But he was training me of how to use my mind. He was in an organization called the Brotherhood, which I didn't know about. Several years later, I understood what it was. And then I was brought in and officially made a member.
What is that like, secret society? What's the truth behind them that people don't realize?
Well, I've been to Skull and Bones Island. That's a secret society, as you know. I've been to Bohemian Grove, and then there's other ones. Bilderberg Group. I've been to the many Bilderberg Group meetings. I was invited. Basically, most of them are just groups of people that get together that pledge to help one another and use those connections to advance each other's personal
agendas,
wealth, and desires and achievements and mission. That's really what it comes down to.
And what's the scope of the net worth or caliber of people in these secret societies or brotherhood?
Well, it varies because not everybody is ultra wealthy, because some of them are just talented. So they could be in a position of a teacher or professor, but they have that ability. And some of them are, in charge of major financial institutions or government institutions and so forth. Most politicians, however, are not members. They're actually just too easy to manipulate because their ego's a little bit too out of control. So we would actually control them, which they were very easy. And some of the groups use a little nefarious means, like Skull and Bones, where the axiom is, it's not what you know, it's who you know. No, it's not what you know, and it's not who you know. It's what you know about who you know. That's how you can control somebody.
Yes.
Epstein.
Yes.
What he knew about everybody means he had the ability to control them. You could call it blackmail, you could call it whatever you want to call it, but that's really what happens at the highest levels of whether it's government or business.
What's the most shocking thing you ever experienced in the Brotherhood or secret society?
Well, I was with Henry Kissinger when he was discussing China, because even though I was incredibly young, my ability to see the future and collapse time was right at the top level. So I was brought into some of these high-level meetings. And the meeting was about China, because at that time, there were, 1 billion people starving in China. I mean, China was a third world country. I mean, it was a third world country where there was mass starvation, especially under Mao. So China was a horrible place to live and was a backwards third world country. And Henry was talking specifically about helping the Chinese first, then India and other countries, improving the quality of life and standard of living. And the way to do that is to move manufacturing out of America and Europe into China. Because wherever manufacturing is, that's where prosperity is. And that's been around forever. If you go back to when the British Empire, controlled the world, they were the manufacturing capital of the world. In Europe, the number one most prosperous country in Europe after World War II was Germany, which was the number one manufacturing country in Europe. Germany. United States, the number one most prosperous country in the world after World War II. What was the number one manufacturer in the world? Germany. So when you start increasing manufacturing, when Japan all of a sudden became a manufacturing mecca, the quality of life and standard of living went out of control. Now China. And it's simple mathematics. You either own the natural resources in that country and manufacturing, which is the ideal scene. Or your own manufacturing, and you have as a colony the place that have the natural resources, then you suck it out of that economy.
Right.
And then when you manufacture something here, and I send it over there, and they pay me, I'm sucking money in from every country in the world and bringing it into my country. I mean, it's not hard, but the politicians and the people in power want to fake you out and deceive you into thinking, oh no, you don't need manufacturing to be prosperous. Oh no, you don't need that, which is the biggest lie out there. A country to be prosperous has to have manufacturing and natural resources, ideally both, but always manufacturing.
No, absolutely. I absolutely agree. And we see it nowadays more than ever. I want to ask then, early on, you talked about, getting into the secret society and the Brotherhood. They obviously teach you things and built upon that special gift that you had already had. Talk to me about, after your initial, you talked about making money early on with direct response. You talked about the dealership, building your skills. Where do you go from that to then seeing the opportunity down the road for the infomercial, where you ended up making hundreds of millions of dollars?
Well, in my life, after I went through the initial, they live in big houses, I need to own my own business, and I was in the Brotherhood. After I made that money, I thought, who cares about this money? I mean, let me just give it away. I don't care.
Did you ever blow it or lose it all?
I didn't blow it. I gave it away. So I said, what charity can I give this to? I was not a person who blew money. I was a person who gave the money away. Now, I would fly first class, or I would, have a nice meal. Those are my two things, and nice clothes. But blowing the money, no. For example, I was in Monaco one time at the Grand Prix, and it was some ultra club we went to, or whatever it was. And I'm sitting there. They had what's called bottle service. You ever hear of bottle service?
Yep.
Okay, what a scam this is. I said, I'd like a Tanqueray martini.
Yeah.
They go, oh, we have bottle service. I go, what is that? Well, you get a bottle of Tanqueray and a bottle of vermouth and some ice, and you make your own drinks. I go, no, I want the bartender to make a drink for me. Why am I making my own drink?
Right.
No, that's how we do it here. Okay. All right, so I get the menu, and the Tanqueray is like $400 a bottle. I go, excuse me, the Tanqueray is like $25 a bottle here.
Yeah.
Why are you charging me $400? Well, it's the Ultra Lounge. And I go, does it say sucker across my forehead? And then this guy, all of a sudden, I see these sparklers come out with this.
The girls dancing.
These two
and,
naked, half-naked women are coming out with this bottle of champagne, and it's a bottle of Dom Perignon champagne. It wasn't even rosé, and I don't think it was even a good vintage. And I'm looking, and it's some gaff year that that nobody else would buy.
Yeah.
But these guys, 25-year-old suckers are over there, and they got all the sparklers, and the girls are dancing around, and the guys are like, oh yeah. And I go, how much is that? That's 10,000 euros.
Oh my
And
God.
I said, okay. I'm in a room of stupid people. So get me out of here. I left.
Yes.
How could I be in a room with stupid people? That's blowing money.
Yeah.
That's being absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
So I left.
Yeah.
I went to the bar back at the hotel. I said, can I have a Tanqueray martini, please, with vermouth? Yeah. How much is that going to be? It was going to be €8. Thank you very much.
Yep, exactly. Yep. No, I love that. And so then from then on, you start experiencing a little bit of, success, and obviously you talk about never blowing money, but take me back to zooming in on where do you go from, where the momentum you have in business early on to seeing the opportunity in the infomercial space.
So it's an interesting story because after I made the money, I thought, I don't care about this money. The money is completely overrated. And I have zero interest in making money. So I talked to my uncle in the Brotherhood, my mentor, and I go, look, I'm a spiritual person. I have all these spiritual gifts. I can see energy. I can clear people's energy. I can do all these things. I'm being used in the Brotherhood to see the future and help with different world leaders and manipulate their mind in a way.
Is it cultivated, or is it something that just was there?
It was initially there, but it was cultivated and enhanced. So if you have great physical skills, then it's like you're just a natural on the piano. Okay, good. But you get a coach, and now you take it to the next level.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's definitely cultivated by experts and through real rigorous training. So I said, look, I don't want to make money anymore. I don't want to be in business. This is really ridiculous. I can see all these other dimensions. This is just a joke anyway. I'd rather go and live in a monastery or an ashram and just basically om and meditate and enjoy the spiritual nature of the world. And he says, well, look at your dharma. We pronounce it dharma, but it's actually pronounced dharm, even though the A is silent at the end. And it's a Sanskrit word. It means duty. It's not mission or purpose, it's duty. It's like your responsibility. It's your agreement when you came on planet Earth. He goes, look at what your dharma is. And I didn't want to, but I looked and I said, it's really to positively influence people. He says, yes, you have a gift because we all have touch points or energy points in our body and in our field. So if you can imagine, you have 1 trillion points, like little holes in you, and I have the same number in me. Some of them are open and most of them are closed. Whatever I have open, energy comes out. And if number 1,258 comes out and yours is open, I can connect with you. So therefore, if I have a lot of them open, I can connect with a lot of people. If I don't have a lot open, I can only connect with a small amount of people who have the same ones open. Does that make sense? He said, look and see how many of these points you have open. He goes, it's like off the charts. I mean, look at planet Earth. How many people have this many open? You are unique in this moment in time. You're here for a reason. Your ability, even though you don't speak well because you're tongue-tied and you stutter, your ability to, with intention, put out that love to people and what you intend to communicate, even if the words come out stuttered, you will still connect and they'll still understand you. You can impact more people than others. And that's what your mission is. If you live in an ashram, you won't be able to do that. So if you take a different path, you'll be able to fulfill your dharma or your duty. I said, okay, fine.
Yeah.
And I remembered a scripture that I studied in the Brotherhood. And it says, if you're willing and obedient, you will eat the fruit of the land and be blessed by the Lord. And I said, okay, I'll be obedient, but I'm not going to be willing.
half the battle.
And
yeah.
I thought, that means I'm not going to be blessed. I have to be both. I have to not only just be obedient, but I actually have to be willing.
Yep.
And do it willingly, right?
Yep.
And it says God loves a cheerful giver. Well, I wasn't very cheerful at doing this because I wanted to go to the ashram. I didn't want to get into business. But I got over that. You know, I kind of accepted my dharma. And I thought, okay, fine, I'll get into business. So, knowing what I knew about manifesting, I could basically create what I wanted. And I was told you have to achieve great success in business because this will give you credibility. So if you're going to talk about whether it's a spiritual concept or if you're talking about love and consciousness, but you're also a wealthy businessman, you'll have more people that will be willing to listen to you.
They believe you.
Yeah. If you're going to talk about how to manifest, but you've manifested $25 billion worth of stuff over the years, people are going to listen to you. If you've gone through great adversity and went through it like you were, you know, Gene Kelly singing in the rain and everything is lovely, no matter what it is, people are going to say, this guy is awesome. I want to, how did he handle that? If he can handle that, I want to learn from him. You're going to be in a unique position and that's your future. Okay, fine. I'm with it. So let me try to manifest some stuff. So I thought, all right, I need to manifest. I was in the automobile business. I had a dealership, a franchise like a Mercury as a part owner. And I thought I have to get out of this and get into some bigger realm. So I need to manifest something where I have some bigger impact with a larger audience. 2 days later, this guy walks into the dealership, Michael Van Masters, selling memory courses.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, he remembers everybody's name. He does all these other demonstrations. We flip over playing cards. He remembers all the playing cards. I go, this is awesome. And he goes, I can teach you how to do it too. So we all bought the memory course. We took the memory course and I'm like, oh my God, my memory is like so much better. This is cool. And he goes, you should come work for me and teach memory courses to large audiences.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, I asked and it was given. My wish has been granted.
Did you write it down in a journal or was it a thought you had?
No, you always have to write down your goals. So if you have a desire for something you want, a goal or an objective, you have to take a white piece of paper and a pen with blue ink because the frequency of the blue ink against the white works better in the brain. And you write down specifically what you want. You have to write it down. You have to transfer it from the ether into the physical universe. And I wrote this down. So now I go to Chicago and I'm in the memory training business. So I work for him and I say, you know, I can't just be a salesman and teaching the class. I'm being groomed to teach the class. I need to have a bigger footprint somehow. 2 days later, the other top salesman comes in and goes, hey, you and I are generating 90% of the sales of this company. We should buy this guy out.
No way, just like that.
And I said, well, ask and it is given. So we went in, bought him out. And now I'm the president of the American Memory Institute, the world's largest memory training school. Within, I mean, like a nanosecond, I'm the president of the world's largest memory training school. And I'm like, how did this happen? This is like magic. But that's how it happened. I know how it worked.
Yeah.
So now I'm the president and I'm going to say, I'm going to expand this around the world.
And how old are you at this time?
20. So we blow this thing up, you know, tens of millions of dollars in sales all around the world. And we're teaching memory seminars and so forth. And I go, okay, not big enough. I need to have a bigger reach. I need to reach more people. And I write down, what do I really want? I goes, I'll tell you what I really want. I want $100,000 a month being deposited in my bank account without me having to do anything.
Right.
I don't know how that's going to happen, but that's what I want. So I write it down. 2 weeks later, I'm staying at the Plaza Hotel in New York City. That's when it was the coolest hotel in New York City. I had this big suite. I'm eating lunch at the Carnegie Deli. I'm having a Danny Rose sandwich, which was half corned beef, half pastrami on rye with mustard.
With dip? Oh, I was going to say.
No. I got a pickle there, but that was about it. So I'm sitting at the table, and it's one long table, and you sit next to people you don't know. So me and my girlfriend were there, and the guy sitting right next to my girlfriend, I'm looking at him, he's eating his sandwich. And I recognized him from TV, and I said, hey, aren't you Bobby Singer, the blackjack expert from television? He goes, yeah. I go, I saw your infomercial, and I bought that course. It's a course on how to, win at blackjack, the Bobby Singer method. I said, it was really easy for me. I loved it because I'm a memory expert. I can remember all the playing cards. So when I go to Atlantic City or Vegas, I can count the cards. And with your system, it was fantastic.
Yep.
He says, "You're a what?" I go, "I'm a memory expert." He goes, "Tell me about that." So I tell him. He goes, "You need to put that on a cassette course and sell it on TV infomercials." I go, no, it won't work on TV infomercials. Nobody will buy it. It's only really designed for salesmen, and you have to sell it live, and you have to teach it live. You can't teach it in a home study course. And I start doing,
limiting beliefs.
Exactly.
Yeah. All the reasons why not,
right.
excuses,
and
can't
he's
do
going,
it.
"I'll put up all the money and pay your royalty. I'll even give you an advance."
No way.
I go, "Well, listen, here's my business card. If you send me a contract, I'll think about it. But I think you're going to lose all your money." So I go back to the Plaza Hotel. Back then, this was 1987. I pick up the phone and I call my home answering machine. You may not know what those were, but you had to call it, and then then you had to go punch in the code, ding, 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 and then then you listen to your messages. So the message is, "Kevin, it's Dr. Duarte. I'm in Lake Tahoe, and I bumped into an old friend of yours, Ed Beckley, the TV infomercial guy from '84 when they deregulated, on The Millionaire Maker, the real estate guru. And I told him what you were doing with the memory thing. And Ed says you should put that on a home study course and sell it with TV infomercials, and he'll put up all the money and pay your royalty."
So now you have like the.
I got two people in the same day coming to me, and I'm like, okay. I hear you. I'm going, I hear you.
Yes.
Right? I call up Ed. I said, "I just met this guy, Bobby Singer." He goes, "I know Bobby Singer. He's terrific, but go with me. I'm better."
Right.
I says, "Well, I don't know. I really like Bobby Singer. You have to give me a really good deal."
Yeah,
So
exactly.
now I'm negotiating.
You're creating a little bit of a, a battle. Yeah.
I go, "Look, whoever sends me the contract first is going to get the deal." 2 days later, Federal Express comes to my door. Now, you don't know, but back then, nobody got a Federal Express unless it was like huge. You had to be like the president of Paramount Pictures to get a Federal Express. I mean, you had to be somebody,
Right.
and it had to be urgent to get a Federal Express. So I get Federal Express. Everyone's like, "Oh, a Federal Express. What is that?" Mr. Trudeau. Okay,
Yeah.
I get Federal Express. Open up, it's the contract from Ed Beckley. So I read it over, sign it. 3 days later, I get a letter from Bobby Singer. And it's his contract. So I call up Bobby and say, "Hey, Bobby, you should have used Federal Express." Goes, "Ed Beckley used Federal Express," and I signed the contract. And I'll never forget this. Bobby Singer says, "I wanted to save $25, and it probably cost me $25 million."
Wow.
And it did. It cost him actually $40 million.
Wow.
That's what he would have made if I signed the contract with him.
Wow.
To save $25. So I signed the contract with Ed. We did the infomercial. A few weeks later, the infomercial's running. He used Federal Express. He goes, "I'm going to Federal Express you a check every Friday." Back then, you didn't get ACH transfers. You got a check.
Right.
You could look at,
Physically.
Smile, physically hold it,
Feel it.
kiss it,
Yeah.
right? Make a photo of it, show your friends, right? This is what you did. So I got the check. My first check, royalty check, was $276,000 for the week.
For the week.
For the week. I was getting 15% royalty across the top. We did $180 million in sales in the next 18 months.
And how old are you at this time?
20, well, this was 1989, so it's going to be 25, 26.
25.
Yeah.
Okay.
So every week, my check was over 100 grand. Exactly what I had written down without me working, because I shot one day. I shot the show one day and never had to shoot it ever again. I just got the check every single week. After the 18 months, the show was kind of winding down. So I said, "Listen, it's kind of run its life. Why don't we shoot another one?" "Nah, we think it's dead."
Yeah.
I said, "Okay, fine. I'll take the rights back." Okay. So I got the rights back, and I shot my own infomercial, and I did another $300 million in sales with Mega Memory myself. And now I had all the money, not just the royalty, but I made all the money because I owned the product and I bought my own media time and so forth. But that's how I got into it. It wasn't any master plan. There's an axiom that I was taught. I was taught this. I didn't invent anything. I never say, "I call it this." No, I was taught this, and this is what I share with others, what was taught to me. I was given the entire puzzle of total success in life. I know every puzzle piece, and all I'm doing is sharing what was taught to me. Everybody else is making stuff up along the way. They don't even know. I watch these podcasts with these gurus. I mean, major success gurus. And they're asked a question. And you know what their answer is? Well, I think. I go, time out. You don't know? You think? The answer is they don't know. They know about it, but they don't know it. But I know it because I was taught it from the Brotherhood. And this goes back 1,000 years. So it's not made up. I know exactly how the mind works. I can see it. So I exactly know why you create success or why you don't, why you fail, why you create success, and then it topples down. I know exactly. I don't know about it. I know it. So there's this formula that if you apply it, it actually does create the results you want. And that's what it is. But the one thing that I was taught that is so critical that everyone listening or watching should embrace: go as far as you can see. And when you get there, you'll see further. You have to have faith. You have to trust that there's stuff off your radar screen that you cannot see. You don't have to know everything. If you're driving a car at night, you can only see as far as your headlights are.
Right.
And you can drive 1,000 miles. You don't even think about that because every time you go a little further, you see a little further. Life is the same way. All you have to know is what is the next logical step. Well, what are you going to do after that? I don't know. When we get there, we'll figure it out. And nobody has that faith. If you have that faith to just feel and go, this is what the next logical step is. When I was in the automobile business and the guy says, I need you to work for me, I didn't know how that would turn out, moving from Boston to Chicago. But I knew that this was the next step. I didn't know anything beyond that. I'll go as far as I can see, and when I get there, I'll see further.
And you made hundreds of millions of dollars in your 20s.
That's right. Yeah.
Wow.
I was just reading an old article. My producer showed me, Kevin, remember this Billiard Digest magazine? You were on the cover because I started the International Pool Tour, and it was talking about how I had, natural cures and mega memory, and we were bringing in $2 million a week in revenue. And profits. I mean, this was back in, the early 90s.
And what's going on inside of your subconscious in your being as you're making that amount of money? Were you numb to it, immune to it? Does it become a bigger game, or was there that high, that elation? Because a lot of people dream about that. So
yeah, no.
As somebody who experienced it, what is that like for people who aspire for that?
For me, and I can't talk about other people, for me, it was absolutely zero. It had no effect because it was the same way I felt when I made that butterfly cake. I just followed the recipe. And here it is. It's not hard. It's something anybody can do.
Yeah, you don't just get excited about a cake. You followed the recipe.
And there it is. So I followed the recipe that was taught to me, the 40-point algorithm for prosperity or abundance or success or how to achieve your goals or how to manifest your reality. That's the new buzzword today. But I just followed it. And the fact that it gave me the result was not a surprise because it is a result that you get. It's like if you take these two chemicals and mix them together, it blows up. Remember we were in school. I'm going to make a volcano. And all you have to do is put bicarbonate of soda with something else and it bubbles up. You don't go, wow, I'm so elated. This is amazing. It's like, no, anybody who mixes those two chemicals, the same thing is going to happen. Why are you surprised?
Why do you think most people struggle then? Because there's people who work hard for years. There's people who read the books. They do their best to apply the principles, to follow instructions. But then for whatever reason, they end up in a financial rut or they stay stuck despite their best of intentions. Why do you think that is, if they're being honest?
So the real question is, why do people fail who seem to be applying the success principles?
Yes.
And I can tell you exactly. I'm not going to say, well, I think. No, I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you exactly why. Number one, they don't know the formula. And I ask people, what books have you read? Well, I've read Think and Grow Rich. I read The Law of Success in 16 Lessons. I read Ask and It Is Given. I've read this. I've read that. I've read this. Good. Tell me the formula step by step to manifest something. What's the first step? Feel good now? Okay. Fail. Fail. Go back to grade 1. You failed. You don't know the recipe.
Right.
So number one, they don't even know the recipe. And the recipe, if there's 40 points to the algorithm, but the basic recipe, like the basic cake recipe, is you got to know what you don't want. You got to clearly define what you do want and have it written down. You have to see yourself in possession of what you want and feel now as if you actually had it. And then you have to release attachment to the outcome by saying, if it never happens, it's perfectly okay. That's the recipe. That's the basic recipe. Arnold Schwarzenegger talks about it in his Netflix documentaries. Jim Carrey talked about it. Anybody who's successful talks about it. Even if they don't consciously know they applied it, they tell you exactly that's what they did. So that's the basic. So they don't know it. Number two, they don't apply it properly. For example, people always say, I'm applying it properly. Okay, well, tell me what you want. I want this black Mercedes S-Class. Okay, good. You know exactly what you want. Okay, and have you seen, I picture myself in possession. I have my dream board. I have pictures of it. Okay, good. And then they say something stupid like, and when I get it, I'm going to feel so good. So here's the error that most people make. When I attain what I want, then I'll feel a certain way, but not until then. You'll never get it because they're not following the formula properly. The formula says you feel now as if you already were in attainment of it, and then release attachment to the outcome, which means you don't even have to get it and you're still feeling the same way.
How can one cultivate that feeling inside now if they don't have what they desire yet?
Using your imagination. We have a powerful imagination. If I were to tell you to imagine there's a lemon right here and cut the lemon in half. Now imagine you have in your own hand a half a lemon and you look at that lemon. And if everybody at home is doing this, imagine there's a half a lemon in your hand. Feel the texture of that lemon in your hand. Look at it. Maybe you can see some of the juice and some of the beads of liquid coming up. Now smell the lemon and just imagine what that lemon smells like. Use your imagination. Now just think about how tart that lemon is. And tart, very tart, very bitter. Now hold it up to your mouth, open up your mouth and get ready. Bite down on it. Okay, you're salivating. I'm salivating, you're salivating, everybody watching doing it salivating. Because your body and mind doesn't know the difference between reality and your imagination. That's how powerful your imagination is. Einstein said it, Walt Disney said it, imagination is more powerful than anything when it comes to manifesting or creating what you want. It's all about your imagination. So step one is they don't know the formula. Step two, the reason they fail is they don't apply it properly. Step three, they have counter intentions. Now, this is huge. If you came from a family, your mother and father and all your ancestors, none of them were wealthy, you probably have counter intentions in your DNA about money, such as money is the root of all evil. Rich people will not go to heaven. We can't make money. We grew up on the wrong side of the tracks. We're not smart enough to make money. We don't come from the right class. We're not the right skin color. We're not the right religion. We don't have the right intelligence. We don't have the right friends. We don't have enough money. It takes money to make money. You could have all these counter intentions from your mother or father or any of your ancestors. They could have put together a postulate, call it a belief, something. They made a decision. Scientists now tell us that if there was trauma in your ancestors as far as 7 generations back, it's in your DNA.
Right.
We know this now. Science has proven it. I learned about it in the Brotherhood back in the 70s. But now it's scientifically proven to be true. Even the Bible talks about how the sins of the father are passed down 7 generations. It actually is a scriptural or spiritual principle as well. It talks about it in the Mahabharata or the Mahabharata and the Ramayana in India and the Quran, and all these books say the same thing. So the point is you could have counter intentions in your DNA or even in your own memory from this lifetime or previous. So those counter intentions have to be neutralized. They have to be cleared. If you don't clear them out, you have this glass ceiling that's going to be stopping you. The counter intentions are on money, relationship, leadership ability, the ability to dream big, and several others. So you have to clear out counter intentions.
How can one clear them out?
Well, you clear them out by first feeling them and then realizing that they're there and then working through with willpower. The way we cleared them out in the Brotherhood is I actually sat down because my dad was a welder. There was no wealth in any of my family. It was all poverty. So I had counter intentions on money. I didn't have counter intentions on relationships because in my family tree, everybody was married and,
Happy.
they stayed together or
Right.
or at least stayed together anyway.
Right. Yeah. Fair enough.
Right. But I mean, it was a commitment to family, right? Once you made that commitment, it was family and, blood is thicker than water type thing. So whether there was happiness and bliss all the time, the thought of ending a relationship once you made that commitment was not even an option. So I didn't have counter-intention there, but I had counter-intention on money. So I had to go to people that were energy proficient, that could go into the DNA and actually clear it out by neutralizing it, by broadcasting their own frequency. Energy work, we call it. So there's counterintention. Now, the next one is habits. So somebody follows the recipe properly. Let's say they know the recipe and they follow the success formula. And let's say they clear out all the counterintentions. Things are looking really good, but they still struggle because they have failure habits. And they're operating out of habit.
Failure habits. I love that. Yeah.
They're unconsciously competent when it comes to applying failure habits. They do it automatically.
And consistently. They're really good at it.
And you don't even know it. So for example,
Yes.
you watch people's speech patterns. You know what I mean? Somebody says that. You know what I mean? And you don't even hear it. You don't even think about it because you say it all the time. You know what I mean? Right? It could be
intuitive. Yeah.
It could be that speech pattern. You could say the speech pattern and whatnot. And you don't even realize that you say something and whatnot. You say something else and whatnot. There's a pattern and it's habit. You don't even realize you're saying it. You do things out of habit. You say something like, oh, I'm such a loser. I mean, that's a habit. You say something out of habit. So a lot of times you say things out of habit that are failure habits and producing more failure. You think things out of habit like, oh, why are we looking at a plane? We can't afford that. When we get the money, we'll look at that. That's a failure habit. Successful people don't say that.
Yeah.
Successful people don't say, oh, let's not look at that because we can't afford it. When we get the money, then we'll look at it. No, a success habit is we don't have the money to buy that, which means we need to look at it. We need to get it into our field so that the universe will give us enough money so we can. We have to know what we want first before the money can catch up.
Absolutely.
We have to expand our dreams. That's a success habit, but we have a failure habit of thinking small. I'll give you another example. I had a friend of mine who was trained in all this stuff, and he was doing contracts, and he goes, I'm struggling with closing deals, and they're just not happening. And I go, well, do you realize you have a habit? Every time you look at a contract, you say the same thing. You pick out one or two paragraphs, and you say, I have a concern with this paragraph. When you say I have a concern, fear instantly gets activated. Because if you have a concern, I have a concern. There's fear. Fear repels success. It pushes it away.
Yes.
So every time you say use the word concern, it's blowing the deal up. The universe is just making sure that it doesn't happen.
Right. It's honoring your signal.
Correct. I go, so change it. Why don't you say, I have a question about this? That's neutral.
Right.
I'd like clarity on this. That's neutral. I go, but listen, forget about neutral. Let's take power. Watch this. This paragraph, I think there's a way we can make this better. Bam. So here's a paragraph that first you can say I have a concern about, I have a question, I'd like clarity, or you can say, I think we can make this better. Which is the most powerful? You can even feel it.
Right.
Right? So if I look at something and say, hey, there's a paragraph here, let's make this better. Bam. Number one, I'm in control.
That's right.
If it is to be, it's up to me. I'm taking charge. The whole universe stands up and goes, he's made a decision that he's going to make this happen. That's it, period. We need to go to work and conspire to help him. And the other guy crumbles because you've just taken power and the lead. You now are at cause over your environment instead of being at effect.
Nothing in life has any meaning except the meaning we give it.
Absolutely correct. Yeah, Very well said.
One of the things on our team too we talk about is nobody on the team is allowed to use the word problem. So sometimes they'll use challenge or like, oh, but we have an opportunity with this situation, right? And those little things, it becomes transformational vocabulary. Even with my significant other, we never call it a fight or argument. We call it a spirited debate, right? Because then it changes the energy totally, and now you can operate in a different pattern of using that, and it'll take you in a totally different trajectory versus something else, right? Another thing is like, how was this? Oh, it was good versus it was great. It was excellent. It was phenomenal. You can't feel phenomenal if you don't use the word phenomenal. Right. And most people have such a limited vocabulary. And because of that limited vocabulary, they have limited emotions. Because of those limited emotions, they have limited experiences and expression. And so I love that you break that down, that it really starts with us. We think we're out here going for stuff, when in reality, and you're a great testament to it, it's about cultivating within, obviously, taking the action. But when you do that, things come to you, right? You're having lunch at the Plaza Hotel that turned into hundreds of millions in your 20s. You couldn't have thought and hustled and wrote down and been pissed off and dreamed and hoped and wished. But because you're living in the energy, it almost came to you. Do you find that when you're in secret societies or the Brotherhood or even rub elbows with some of the most successful people in the world, do you find that a lot of them also have stories like that where, for lack of a better expression, things came to them? Obviously, they did the work versus, pushing. They were more pulling or attracting.
So in Calabasas, California here, there's a spa I go to. It's world famous, called the Golden Door. Mm-hmm. They have Men's Week 6 weeks a year, and I've been going for decades. So for a whole week, you have 35 guys. And it's the same guys who've been coming for decades as well. There's a lot of them getting up in age, but there's a lot of young guys there too. But these are incredibly successful guys. I was there 1 week, and we kind of added up the collective net worth, or how much money we controlled. It was over $1 trillion.
Wow.
Well over $1 trillion between the 33 guys.
Mm-hmm.
The one common denominator, and there's really not very many common denominators with successful people, but the one common denominator is that all successful people find the gold in adversity.
Wow.
When you look at J.D. Rockefeller.
Yeah, that just hit me big time.
J.D. Rockefeller said the two things that made him wealthy. He was a Baptist, a lot of people didn't know, very religious person, didn't drink, didn't smoke. And he tithed because according to his religious tradition, you gave 10% of your income.
That's right.
As that was required, and then you had to give an offerings on top of that. Mm-hmm. So the minimum was 10%. But you had to give more to charity. And you had to do so silently and almost anonymously, not for fanfare, in order to get the blessings from God, which is a scriptural principle. There was a great book that talked about that called Magnificent Obsession. Mm-hmm. Spectacular book. A novel, but it's incredibly well worth reading. So Rockefeller said that giving, and he got his first paycheck, he said, was $1.50. Mm-hmm. He gave 10% as his tithe and 5% more as an offering. And he goes, he did it every single time he got money. And it's the number one reason why he became success, because the secret of living is giving. He said, but the second reason he created success was he called it my uncanny ability to always find the seed of a greater benefit in every adversity. Mm. He said, every adversity, every challenge, every disaster, every calamity that you face, within it is a treasure chest. It is a gift from God. He said, this is not something that you want to avoid. It's something you want to embrace. The universe does not do things to us. It does things for us.
Yes.
And when we get adversity, when we get a challenge, when we get a situation, as you wisely said earlier, they're all just opportunities, mm-hmm. right? There's no problems. There's situations, circumstances, there's situations, and there's opportunities. How do you look at it? But in every adversity, and Napoleon Hill said this because he learned it from J.D. Rockefeller, mm-hmm. because Rockefeller told Napoleon Hill when he put it in his book, in every adversity is a seed of a greater benefit. You watch the History Channel. They have, the history of America's Titans, Carnegie, Ford, J.P. Morgan. You look at the food that built America with Kraft, Schlitz beer, mm-hmm. all these, you name it. Mrs. Fields cookies, famous Amos cookies, Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Right, Colonel Sanders.
Yeah. You look at every single one. Watch those shows. Every single one of these people had a disaster. And it was the disaster that virtually bankrupted them. Out of that disaster came their wealth.
The gold.
That's where they found the treasure. And Rockefeller did it. He was selling kerosene, and he had to have it shipped on railroads. Well, there was two major railroads, Vanderbilt and some other guy who was with Carnegie. They were running the railroads, and they got together and they said, hey, we can squeeze Rockefeller. We're going to triple the price. Mm-hmm. So they told Rockefeller, hey, you want to ship your kerosene? You can only use us, and we're tripling the price. Disaster. Absolute disaster for Rockefeller. Rockefeller said, there's a treasure chest here. I have to find it. So he said he walked around his refinery and he was thinking, I have this blessing. He didn't call it a disaster. I have this blessing presented to me. I have to just find the treasure. I have to find the treasure. And as he's walking around, he's looking at all the pipes in his refinery, moving the oil from one side of the refinery to the other. And he says, wait a minute. If we can lay railroad track across America, why can't I put down pipe across America and ship my oil via pipe? I don't have to use the railroad, which is what he did. He created the pipeline, the oil pipelines.
Wow.
And he saved 3 times as much because it was cheaper than running it on the railroad.
And created an entire new industry, yeah.
And he then said to them, screw you.
Right.
His profits soared when the government tried to break up Standard Oil. A disaster. He made sure he had stock in all the companies. And when they broke it up, his net worth tripled.
Yeah.
He said, thank you. Thank you. Thank
Wow.
you stupid government politicians. You just tripled my net worth overnight.
Can you share? That's an incredible story. I'm literally like,
But
I
that
got
happened to
goosebumps
me.
from that.
It
I was
happened
just
to
going
me.
to ask you that.
It happened to me. I get sued by the government. Okay, I'm exposing corporate and government corruption. My customers love me. They rebuy everything I have. They recommend it to their friends, and the government sues me. And the government says, "We're shutting you down. You're going to be banned from TV infomercials," even though not one customer complained.
And what was their rationale at the time for people who don't know?
The rationale was that I was
A charlatan?
in the media, they call me a lot of fun names: snake oil salesman and charlatan and scammer and things like that. And I kept on saying, "Who am I scamming? I'm selling a book, okay, that everybody loves.
Right.
I'm selling Mega Memory. Everybody loved it. Mega Speed Reading and Mega Math. Where's the charlatan? Where's the snake oil? I'm not selling snake oil. I'm not selling. People love what I sell." They said, well, listen, and behind the scenes, they said, look, we have to put these press releases out and we have to write them in a certain way for the politicians. And they were very open about it, how it works, because you're affecting the drug industry and the food industry. And so the politicians have to say, see what we did, we're attacking this guy. And it's all a
Smoke and
complete
mirrors.
facade.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a complete, that's what the scam is. So I said, listen, and they said, listen, the government says, we need a headline. We'll settle. And we'll even put in the settlement, no finding of any wrongdoing, Mr. Trudeau, because you didn't do anything wrong. I said, that's okay, good. So we'll settle. But we need a headline. We need to have a press conference and we have to win. You have to understand, we have to have a win. I'll give you the win. Put in there that there's, I'm banned from TV infomercials. They go, what? I go, yeah, I'll let you write up, I'm banned from TV infomercials, with the exception of First Amendment protected material like books. And they go, well, that's all you're selling now anyway. I go, exactly.
Yep.
So I'm not banned, but you get the headline. And they go, we love it. So I'm now banned from infomercials, but I'm not. I'm doing exactly the same thing I always did with their agreement. I'm selling books. Now I'm in Ojai and I'm thinking, I'm tired of fighting with these people. Maybe I'll just retire. I said, no, what I really should do is I should write a book exposing the corruption at the Federal Trade Commission and the FDA and the drug. That's what I really should do. Matter of fact, I should actually write a book with all the natural remedies.
Yeah.
And I should call it like natural cures that the government and the drug companies don't want you to know about.
Yeah.
I go, well, that'd be a little long. I go, what if I wrote a book called Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About? I'm with 3 of my guys. And they go, I don't think that'll sell. And I go, no, that'll sell. That needs to be written. So I sat down, I wrote that book in 1 week, 600 pages.
Wow.
I produced an infomercial, put it on. First, I went to all the publishers and nobody would publish it. They said, it's too thick, no one's going to read it. You're not a doctor, no one's going to listen to you. Plus, you've been crucified in the press as a snake oil salesman and a scammer, no one's going to buy it. I says, okay, well, that's fine. I'll publish it myself. So I printed 1 million copies.
No way.
Wrote the check, put it on the floor.
You printed 1 million copies?
Printed 1 million copies. Put it on the warehouse floor. I had the money, so I printed 1 million copies, and I put the infomercial up. The infomercial did a 5 ratio.
Wow.
Now, That's ROAS in today's marketing things.
Right.
But not only that, but I also started the website naturalcures.com, and you could go there and sign up for a newsletter at $25 a month, or it was $18 a month back then. So I had a back end as well with continuity is what we called it. So I sold the books. The book sold 50 million copies. It was #1 on the New York Times bestseller list.
Wow.
26 weeks in a row. It was the best-selling book in all of America the year it came out.
Wow.
The point being is, it only came out because of the lawsuit I got from the Federal Trade Commission and the settlement. Out of every adversity is the seed of a greater benefit. It was only because of that I came up with that book.
Wow. And then fast forward years later, you would end up serving a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about that experience? A, how it came about. B, the day you went in, and then C, what that experience was like for you coming out.
Yeah, this is the most amazing thing because the internet is, as we know, is not accurate. I mean, you can punch into ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT a question about the Bible and a verse, and they gave me like 2 verses, and I said, "You're wrong. This is the verse," and it says, "Good catch."
Whoops, my bad.
Good catch. I go, "You're the AI. You're supposed to give me the accurate information. You're just making stuff up."
Yeah.
It does that all the time. And Wikipedia, as we know, is full of misinformation.
Right.
I mean, the stuff that's on there that is just categorically not accurate. So people say, well, he been scamming. One guy says, "You've been scamming people." I go, "Who? What product?" "Well, I read someplace that you were a scammer." I go, "I know. What? What did I scam? Did I sell oil wells that didn't exist?" No. I sold a book called Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About. It exposed the government corruption, the pharmaceutical corruption, and the media corruption, and how they collude together to hide non-drug and non-surgical ways to cure and prevent disease. I did a podcast yesterday, and the woman said, I said, everything I said in that book 20 years ago has been proven to be true. She goes, "Let me find out." So she goes on the internet, she asks ChatGPT, and she goes, "Well, yeah, you talked about talcum powder, you talked about fluoride in the water, you talked about rebounding. All these things that you said have now scientifically been proven to be true." She goes, "There's 28 things, and it continues to list them." I go, "Of course." But back then, that really shook up the pharmaceutical industry. That book, Natural Cures. So I was never sued for fraud. I was never sued for ripping anybody off. People completely misinterpret. That's not what I was sued for. I was sued for contempt of court. And what was I in contempt of? The government told me to stop talking about my books on TV. I said, "No, I have a First Amendment constitutional right to talk about my First Amendment constitutionally protected books. I have a right to express my opinion, and I have a right under the Constitution to talk about books. This is not Nazi Germany. We can't burn books here. I have a right to talk about them. You cannot stifle free speech, even if you don't like my opinion. Just because I am attacking you, the government, and I'm exposing your corruption, and you don't like what I'm saying, and I'm attacking the drug companies who are the #1 lobbyists in Washington, and I'm attacking the media, it doesn't mean you have the right to silence me." Well, President Gorbachev from the Soviet Union, when I was traveling with him, he said, "Be careful with the U.S. courts, because it's not what the law says, it's what the judge says that matters."
Fair point.
Because you may have some trouble, about this book, Natural Cures. And I said, "You think so?" He goes, "I think so." He was right.
And a quick question I have for you is, you seem to have a pattern over the years of being able to, I don't know a way to put it, but acquire or build expertise rather quickly.
Yes.
Right? You go from being a young kid with no experience to direct response. Then you get in the car business. Then you get in the memory business. Then you get in the infomercial space. And you seem to just kind of, whereas most people struggle for 5, 6, 7 years, it seems like every 2, 3 years you were up-leveling the opportunity. What is it that you were doing internally to be able to do that? I know you talk about the Theta, right? You talk about the Theta brain state, but what is it internally you're doing to continually create ascension and abundance habitually, seemingly rather quickly compared to most people? What's the secret
it's really
there?
interesting because I've been interviewed by vast numbers of people around the world. Radio hosts, TV hosts, newspapers, magazines, Fortune magazine, whatever, podcasts now. No one's ever asked me that question. No one's been astute enough to just say what you just said. And that is,
Thank you.
grabbed this information very quickly. No one's been really astute enough to observe that. There was a TV series years ago called The Pretender. Are you familiar with that?
No.
The Pretender was a story, the quote, fictionalized story of a guy named Jared, who as a young boy in 1963 was taken into an organization called the Center because this boy had abilities to see energy and move energy and see the future and so forth. And he had the ability so well established that he could become anyone. He could virtually download, if you will, that's the new term today, everything from that person's mind. He could read books very quickly and absorb all the information. He could look at a person and virtually morph into them and therefore absorb all that knowledge and become an expert on something incredibly quickly. This is loosely based on my story.
Wow.
That series called The Pretender. Because one of my abilities was to morph into other people and quickly grasp all that data. Whether it's shooting pool, one of my best friends is Mike Siegel, the 10-time world champion pool player. I'm terrible playing pool. All of a sudden I meet Mike, we hit it off, and I'm going to morph into Mike. And all of a sudden now I become Mike Siegel. I'm running out the table and I'm not
Sharpening the little thing.
There we go. Let's play. Or playing the piano. I never took a lesson on piano in my life, and I watch somebody, start morphing into them, start playing the piano, or learning marketing or speaking. Right now, I think I'm a pretty good communicator.
Phenomenal.
And remember, I stuttered. I couldn't be in a room with people. I needed to be by myself. I couldn't walk into a room. I'd have panic attacks, anxiety attacks being in a room with other people because heaven forbid someone was going to talk to me. And then I'd have to actually talk back. This was a big challenge. So being able to change that is something that everyone can get better at. People always ask me, can people really get to a high level of expertise in whether it's marketing or sales or making money or manifesting or any of these things? And the answer is no, not everyone can get to a high level of expertise, but everyone can get infinitely better. You take 10 people who have never played the piano in their life, and they all start taking lessons the same day. And they all practice for the same amount of time every day. At the end of the year, there's going to be one person in that group who's going to be way better than everybody else. And there's going to be one person who's going to be the worst out of that group. But all of them are going to be infinitely better than when they started, right? Same thing in life. If it's making money, if it's running a business, if it's being a public speaker, if it's being a marketing person, writing ad copy, if it's being in a relationship, if it's being a communicator, anything at all, you can get much, much better than you are right now. Success, as Zig Ziglar said, is not what you've done compared to what others have done. It's what you've done compared to what you could have done. So you have to really just compare yourself against yourself.
And in terms of the theta state, can you talk a little bit about that and your philosophy about how important that is to achieve and manifest?
If we look at the brain vibrates at different frequencies. Scientists have put it into 5 categories, which is really not true. There's trillions of frequencies. Because if you break down every frequency increase, there's trillions of them. But we take a big band of them and call it, this is going to be gamma. This is going to be beta. This is going to be theta. This is going to be alpha, and this is going to be delta. So we put them into 5 categories, but each one of those bands is pretty wide. Beta, when you're broadcasting on beta, you can call that the slave wave or the poverty wave. Because if you're broadcasting in beta, you're going to be miserable. You're not going to be able to manifest anything because your brain is a broadcaster and receiver of frequency. And if you're broadcasting your thought of what you want on beta, it doesn't affect anything in the physical universe, nor does it affect anybody else's brain in a major way. If you're broadcasting on alpha or theta, it's going to have a much better impact on the physical universe and other people's brain. The sweet spot is right in between theta and alpha. So there's alpha then theta. So it's right at the bottom end of alpha and at the top end of theta. That bandwidth, that combination bandwidth, if you're in that range, that's when virtually molecules in the universe will vibrate when you put out a thought in the biggest way. You actually can create heat. You can create heat. Somebody actually saw me do this. I never show abilities. But somebody saw me do this. I was at my house. We were outside. It was cold. It was rainy. It was in the winter in Chicago. And I had all this wood in my fire pit. It was kind of moist. And it was kind of misty. And I didn't want to like look for fire starters or lighter fluid or newspapers or whatever, or try to get some wood. So I just said, well, I'll just start the fire. So I took a match, and the guy's right there watching me. He was walking. He actually was coming out of the house and just opened the door, and I just threw the match in, and I just did this, and the son of a gun went poof. And he said, "What did I just see?" And I said, "You didn't see anything."
That's incredible.
He said, "You're a witch. You're a witch."
So what do you do to cultivate that? You talk about it being a little bit of a meditative state. Do you consciously meditate every day? What advice do you have for people on a practical level to implement some of these things to
there's so
that?
many things, and every person is different. When I was in the Brotherhood trained, everybody was given training based on what the issue was with them. So today, you may have major amounts of nanoplastics in your brain screwing up your ability to get into that state. You could have all types of allergic reactions from the dyes, the red dyes, or maybe even the dyes in the salmon that you're eating you think is healthy for you. They ingest it with synthetic dye. It could be the dyes that are in or the fragrances that you're smelling. These fragrances are deadly poison. You get trash can liners, right, for your trash can, and it smells of falafel, with some, it's poison to your brain. So you could have some neurological issues preventing you, which means you have to clear them out. You have to cleanse them or detox them from your brain. So today, I think one of the most important things a person can do to be able to increase concentration and focus and the ability to broadcast a thought on a narrow beam, which will help manifest it into the universe, is to clear out the toxins in the brain. And there's a couple of things out there. There's masterpeace.org, which has it's seawater with some zeolite in it, which is excellent, pretty cheap. Much more expensive is the Pampa program, chelation, oral chelation, and there's other things that you can do. Zeolite's always a good one. Chlorella helps pull mercury out in heavy metals and nanoplastics. So there's some things to get rid of it. That's like number one, right? Number two is sleep. When you go to sleep, your body needs to release melatonin, but today people have the hardest time sleeping. That's why these sleep aids are off the charts in terms of supplements. So there's a couple of reasons why you're having a hard time sleeping. Number one, you're plugging your phone by your bed. So plug in your phone, but ideally shut the phone off and then plug it in the next room. That's ideal, but never by your bed. If it's in your bedroom, that's not as good, but it's better than by your bedstand. If you shut it off, that's better, but it's still vibrating. But ideally get it out of the room. You have no idea the effect that's having on your brain and your ability for your body to release melatonin and get into full sleep. That way it allows the brain to heal. Next, lights. In everyone's room, there's a blue light, there's a red light, there's the light for all over the place. There's like lights. This prevents, especially blue and red, it prevents the body from releasing melatonin. You can't release human growth hormone between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. because of the lights. Simple solution. Get a silk black eye mask and put it on. Now you're in total darkness. Your body's going to release melatonin better. Next, oxygen. All of our homes are hermetically sealed, for God's sakes. So we're in this hermetically sealed room. We're getting no fresh air. The air is just recirculating. You're breathing all night long. You're throwing out carbon monoxide, or is it carbon dioxide?
Yeah.
Poison into the air. You have no plants that are helping. And so the amount of oxygen in the air all night long begins to go down and down and down and down and down and down and down. That affects your brain. Solution. What everyone did 50 years ago. Open the darn window. Sleep with the window open. Let the fresh air in. And it's cold. Good. Get an extra blanket. I mean, it's better to be in the cold air against your face, breathing oxygenated air. Your body is going to love it. You're going to sleep like you're not going to sleep like a baby. You're going to sleep like a dog. I mean, you're going to be out, and you're going to wake up completely refreshed. You do those three things: no cell phone, shut it off and put it in a different room, silk black eye mask, and open the window so you have oxygen, so the temperature gets much cooler, and your ability the next day to concentrate and focus is going to automatically go up dramatically.
I love that. And I have a few last questions here before we wrap up. I wanted to ask, talking about, when the government came after you, you ended up serving, I believe you were sentenced to 10 years, ended up serving about 8.
10 years for the non-crime of contempt of court.
And how much time did you serve?
8.5 years. There was no fine, no restitution. There was no customers ripped off or anything like that. No fraud, no deception. It was contempt of court because I didn't obey a court order, which means I kept talking about my book on television. I was exercising my First Amendment constitutional right. The case, by the way, is closed. The government has settled with no finding of wrongdoing. Thank you very much.
That's awesome.
Again, but that never gets reported. I did nothing wrong. I sold millions of books that people loved. I did zero wrong. I was charged with contempt of court. It was a political witch hunt. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows they were trying to shut up a vocal critic of the government, exposing the pharmaceutical corruption and how they're hiding the truth about non-drug and non-surgical cures to prevent disease. And over 28 things that I said in the original book 20 years ago now have been proven to be 100% correct. But I'd served 8.5 years without committing a crime and without getting any restitution or fine.
And what's the number one shift for Kevin Trudeau having that experience and getting out?
There has been no change. When I went to prison, I looked at it like J.D. Rockefeller did. I've been given a gift. That was my feeling. Legitimate. I said, I've been given a gift. I've been given a blessing. There's a treasure in here. And when I went away, I thought, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. I can do yoga every day. I can meditate every day. I can play bridge. I can really sharpen up my bridge game.
Do you normally meditate every day?
Yes. Yeah. So I can do all types of things that I didn't have time to do. I can write a course called the Science of Personal Mastery course. I can write the Your Wish is Your Command book. I can exercise like a fiend. I can do yoga exercises. I can learn German. I can learn Italian. I can play tennis. I can go for long walks. I can read great literature that I haven't read before. I can meet the most interesting people from a variety of things, whether they're the past president of a country or Jesse Jackson Jr. or Jeff Skilling from Enron or this billionaire or that billionaire. Or I can meet this guy here who's an arch criminal gangbanger who can't, put together 2 sentences because his vocabulary is low. And I can become friends with him and learn about him and his culture and where he came from and the struggles he has in his community and his life and the fact that he has no education. And I can broaden my understanding of human beings and still have the same love and compassion for everyone, regardless of race, religion, education level, of what they did wrong or what they didn't do. It was a beautiful, beautiful blessing and experience that I had, that I've been blessed with.
That's awesome. Was it a humbling experience in the sense of going from making hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars in the business to then kind of being stripped away of that temporarily?
For me, no. And I'll tell you the reason why, because I like to go fishing up in Canada for walleye. And when we go fishing up in Canada, we'd sometimes be in a tent. We'd be in a little tiny hut with no electricity, have kerosene lamps or whatever. And we loved it. We're in a sleeping bag.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is poverty. You could call that living in poverty. And I pay to live in poverty, right?
Yeah.
And I live in poverty and have to cook my own crappy meals and crappy stuff. And I don't think, I'm very humbled to be here. I'm going, I love this. This is so cool, man.
Finding the joy.
We got to go to the toilet in a hole out there in the woods in the rain. I mean, this is great. We're roughing it, right? And we love it. We're not feeling humbled. We just love the experience. Whether I'm in a Ritz-Carlton hotel or the Peninsula Hotel or whatever, in the finest suite, or whether I'm in a Holiday Inn, or whether I'm in the backseat of a car because I'm just happen to be driving on a road trip and I have to sleep, to me, it's all the same. It's just a different experience.
No, beautifully put. And then I wanted to ask also about the 7-month, I believe you did like a 7-month
cave.
Can you talk a little bit about that and what you learned from that?
When I talked to my uncle years ago, I said, I'm trying to, is there anything I can do to even take my abilities to the next level? They said, well, you're really there. You're anchored beyond the veil in the static, in the oneness. You're at the top level of proficiency in using your abilities. But I think what you should do next is disconnect from the universe, from the world, and go into isolation. I said, well, what will it do for me? They said, you'll find out. So they set me up with going to the Himalayas into a cave. And it's set up. It wasn't, they're people, this is what they do, right? Some people go there for a weekend.
Yeah.
They said, you 7 months? Yeah, 7 months. Long time.
Why 7?
7's a magic number.
Why is that?
733. Each number has a frequency and vibration. If you ever talk to a numerologist, you know that there's frequencies of vibration. So there's 12, there's 7, there's 33. 12 is very powerful. There's 12 months of the year. Jesus had 12 apostles, blah, 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 blah. There's, 12 hours in the cycle of a day. So 12 is a number, 7 is a number, 33 is a number, 11 is also a number. So we went for 7, better than 12.
You're right.
It was the lowest one. So 7 in the cave, no communication with any other human being. And I was told you're on your own. So nobody can verify if it's true, but you can't speak.
Wow.
So I'm by myself, so I can't talk to myself. I can't talk. I can only think. So I cannot open my mouth. I can't utter sounds unless I had a cough. But I can't utter sounds. Can't hum, can't sing, can't speak. No interaction with any human beings. Food was put down the trail every few days for me to eat. And I, bring back the trash and things so they would get rid of it. But there was no connection or interaction with other people. No books to read. Nothing whatsoever. And it was a clean cave, kind of protected from snakes and spiders and lions, tigers, and bears type thing. So I felt safe. But it was a cool experience for me because what it allows you to do is confront yourself. Most people cannot be in silence. They cannot confront themselves. They don't want to look at themselves. They're afraid to look at themselves because they may not like what they see.
Afraid to confront the truth.
That's correct. You have to confront who you really are and see who you really are. And when you do, all your fears go away because it vanishes. Anything that you think is a problem, or I feel so guilty about this, I did this in the past, I don't want to look at that. When you look at it, you realize that it's a facade, it's a paper tiger, and it vanishes. Whatever you can confront, you can handle. And whatever you can confront fully, the charge on it, the energy, the electricity, the energetic imprint just crumbles and vanishes into thin air, and you become free. Wow. So the whole thing is becoming free. When you clear out of your field all these samskaras, as it says in Sanskrit, which is an energetic imprint, that you've put there yourself and created yourself, it doesn't exist. So if you created something in your mind that's holding you back and giving you stress, anxiety, and guilt and fear and all these other negative emotions, but you created it and it doesn't exist. And when you actually look at it, it vanishes right before your eyes and it leaves you. The feeling of expansion, freedom, and liberation surpasses all human comprehension and surpasses words. You can't even describe it.
Yeah. Wow. The way you explain that's incredible, my man. And I want to ask you this too. A lot of people, we told people we're going to write in and people had a funny, silly question, but I'm curious, just quick thoughts on it. How do you feel alcohol or marijuana, your recreational drugs affect the manifestation process, or do you feel they do?
I have a lot of things to say about this and not my opinion. I can tell you what I know. Alcohol relaxes the muscles and relaxes the mind and gets processed by the liver. Mm-hmm. Too much is poison. Mm-hmm. By the way, what I just said is not disputable. It's indisputable. It's absolutely factual. So I'll tell you a story about alcohol. So I'm hiking up the mountain in Germany. I'm hiking up the Alps. And I got my poles and I'm hiking. It's like a 3-hour hike straight up. And I got water because you have to hydrate. So I'm drinking all my water all the way up and I run out of water. So when I get to the top, there's a big restaurant up there because it's also a ski area. Mm-hmm. So most people go up there and ski down, but in the summertime you hike up. So I go out there and on the patio, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous summer day. Tons of people are on the patio, all Germans mostly. Mm-hmm. Everybody's speaking German. So I sit down and I go, I want a big, big bottle of water. And the waitress looks at me kind of funny, as if to say, water? And I said, yeah, okay. She walks away. And I'm looking around at all the tables, and everybody has this big, huge glass with this brown, light-colored liquid in it with this foam. It looks like beer, but it's this weird, tall glass, and it looks cloudy a little bit. So she brings the water over, and I go, what is everybody drinking? She goes, Weissbier. I go, what's Weissbier? Well, she goes, that's white beer or wheat beer. It's made with wheat, and that's what you should be drinking because you just hiked up the mountain. I go, but that has alcohol in it. Alcohol's dehydrating. And she laughs. You Americans. She says, the alcohol is very small. It relaxes the muscle. The wheat beer has a low surface tension, which means it's more hydrating than water. And surface tension is if you take a piece of let's say a brown paper bag, and you take a bead, one little drop of water, and you put it there, and notice the bead just stays on top.
Right.
It doesn't permeate.
Right.
The surface tension isn't
holds it
correct.
together. Yeah.
If you take some carrot juice and take one little bead of carrot juice, it goes right in, boom, because it's the clusters of molecules are smaller and flatter. It has a lower surface tension, which means it's wetter. The beer is wetter than water.
Wow.
She goes, also the beer has carbohydrates and minerals because it's wheat beer. So it's not only going to hydrate you better, the slight amount of alcohol, it's not going to dehydrate you because you're drinking this much fluid. It's going to relax the muscles. So allowing the hydration to get into the muscles so you don't develop lactic acid or have any cramps. And then you have all the minerals, including calcium and magnesium, which you need after you hike up. This is what you should be drinking. Like everybody else, she says. And I go, give me one.
Yeah.
I drank it down. I'm like, oh my God, I feel like Superman.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how good I felt. So the bottom line is alcohol in small amounts and in moderation is perfectly fine. Then I bring this monk to live with me, Xian Ming. He was the lead monk at the Shaolin Temple in China, Kung Fu master. For the first time in history, the real monks who lived in the temple were allowed to leave and travel the world, showing the world their Kung Fu mastery. He was like, Kwai Chang Caine in the TV show Kung Fu. The stuff they did is, spooky. Like you put a spear into his throat, you push it, and the spear bends and breaks. It doesn't permeate his throat because his chi energy is so strong.
Wow.
So I see this guy, and I'm amazed. I go see and watch the monks. I've trained in Shaolin martial arts for a long time. And then I hear he defects. And he actually wins his asylum, and he's in New York. So I track him down, and I go, I need you to come live with me and teach me, train me. So he comes to California. He lived with me for a while.
So you just paid him to live with you? And
Yeah. I paid him. I paid his expenses and everything. So he lived with me. We're going to train. And I had Grandmaster Tai, who was my trainer, come with me because he spoke Mandarin. That way he could talk to him because his English wasn't so good. So we're training, and I says, what do you like to eat? Oh, I eat anything. I go, no, you're a Buddhist monk. You're a vegetarian, aren't you? No. Yeah, I'm Buddhist monk. Yeah. Chan Buddhist. But I eat anything. I go, no, you're vegetarian. Buddhist monks are vegetarian. Maybe there's a issue with the translation. He goes, no, I eat anything. I go, okay. So we go out I go, what do you like to eat? He goes, I'm a Chinese. I like a Chinese food. So we go to a Chinese restaurant. They're all like bowing down to him because he's, master.
Yeah.
So I go, what do you want? He goes, I want a steam vegetable, vegetable fried rice, and vegetable noodle soup. Okay, sounds like a lot of vegetables. Sounds like vegetarian to me. So we eat the food. The next day, everything he orders, vegetables, fried rice, vegetables, vegetable noodle soup, vegetables, more vegetables, fruit, fruits. That's all he's eating, all vegetarian. So I says, Shifu, you lied to me. You told me that you're not a vegetarian, but all you eat is vegetables. He looks at me and he goes, I like vegetables. I go, but wait a minute. Would you eat meat? I know, order meat. I don't like meat. But if you serve me meat, I eat anything. I have no restrictions. What a beautiful way to live, right?
Right.
I'm free. He says, I'm free.
He's not living any kind of identity.
That's correct. I go, if I made you a steak right now, would you eat it? Yes, because you give it to me out of love. Of course I eat it. I know, order steak. I like vegetable. But what a beautiful understanding of, no attachment, right? But I says, what do you like to drink? He goes, oh, I like a special water. I go, what's special water? Corona beer.
Corona beer.
And I goes, do you like anything else? He goes, oh, and also very, very special water, champagne.
That's incredible.
And I go, what? So we train 2.5 hours in the morning, 2.5 hours in the afternoon, 2.5 hours at night. I mean, this guy's killing me, right?
Right.
I mean, we're just kicking it. After every training, he drinks 3 Corona beers.
Wow.
And I said, and I remembered when I was hiking, but I asked him, why are you drinking? He goes, because it relaxes the mind, relaxes the muscle.
Wow.
He goes, we just generate a lot of lactic acid. We need to feed the muscle. You can't drink just water. No good. Because that basically leach all the mineral out and no good for you. You have to give your body what it needs.
Right.
He goes, throughout history,
right.
we drink a wine, we drink a beer because low surface tension, hydrate very well. Low alcohol content, not the new beer with a lot of alcohol. The low alcohol content.
Yeah.
So the point is that's fine. If you're an alcoholic and drinking a half a bottle of scotch every
Different
night,
story.
yeah, it's not going to help. Marijuana, okay, everyone's going to hate me about this. Marijuana is different than alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
When you drink alcohol, the liver processes it, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
When you smoke a joint, a percentage of the drug stays in the fatty tissue in your body. The majority of the fat in your body is your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Which means in your brain, all the fatty tissues have a residual amount of that drug. The next joint you smoke, they still call it joints, I guess? Okay.
They call it everything.
Yeah, whatever you want, right? The blunt or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah.
The next marijuana cigarette you smoke, it adds to what you previously smoked. You do that for 2 or 3 years, you have a huge buildup of the drug in the fatty tissue in your brain. Your brain is operating slower. You cannot get into alpha theta, maintain it. You can't concentrate. The synapses don't work as well. They're all corroded. You cannot function properly. The longer you do this, the worse it gets. You think it's okay because it's like graying hair. You don't notice the change. Or the person who starts gaining weight, oh, I gained 1/4 pound today, 1/4 pound next week, 1/2 pound the week after. You don't notice the incremental changes because it's happening so slow. You don't notice the cognitive decline the more you smoke. All the psilocybin, the magic mushrooms, LSD, peyote, ecstasy, they are the same. They're in the fatty tissue. Now, how do we know this? Scientists prove that when they take the fatty tissue out and biopsy, it's there. They can see it. And there's a simple way to prove it as well. All you have to do is go into a sauna. Take some niacin, go into a sauna for a couple hours, 20 minutes at a time, give yourself a 5-minute break in between. And all of a sudden, you will start having flashbacks. If you did LSD, you'll have a flashback of LSD. If you did cocaine, you'll feel it on your lips where you rub the cocaine on your upper lip when you used to snort cocaine, or you feel it in your nose. If you smoked marijuana, you'll start feeling high, and the room will reek of marijuana.
Wow.
Oh, I haven't smoked marijuana in 5 years. Good. Go into that sauna, and guess in 1 hour, that sauna is going to reek of marijuana because it's still in your system. And that happens 100% of the time. When the perspiration is then analyzed, we can tell you exactly all the drugs you took. So somebody says, no, I'm drug-free. Get into the sauna, okay, and we'll tell you how drug-free you are. We're not even going to take a urine test because that's only active drug. We want to find out what is in the fatty tissue. And not only can we find the marijuana or the LSD or the psilocybin or the cocaine or the heroin, but we can also find the pharmaceutical drugs you've been popping because it's in the perspiration, because it's in the fatty cell. This is why the more drugs you take, you kind of bloat up because the body is actually retaining water to dilute all the toxic poison chemicals from the drugs you've taken so you don't die.
Wow.
That's why you get bloated.
Wow. Has Kevin Trudeau ever tried marijuana?
One time when I was a kid, I smoked marijuana.
But I didn't inhale.
I tried to inhale and I coughed like a crazy person and said, I tried to smoke a cigarette. I mean, I tried to smoke packs of cigarettes and I'm trying to inhale and I can't. So I said, listen, I want to enjoy, this tobacco thing. What can I do? So I kind of gave up. And then I went to see W. Clement Stone. He was the billionaire from Combined Insurance, co-wrote the book with Napoleon Hill, Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. in Northbrook, Illinois. We're bow tie, pencil mustache, slick back hair. Looked like he was from the 20s, man. He was fantastic. So I walk in his office and we're talking, and he has this big, huge humidor. He opens it. He's a big cigar smoker. He opens it up, flips it around, shoves it in my face, and he goes, "Do you smoke?" I go, "No." He says, "Would you like to start?"
That's awesome.
And I said, "Well, sure, but you have to teach me how to do this because I don't know how to do this.
Right.
First, let's start with the cutter. You have a guillotine or a V?" And he's like going on, and I'm like, this guy is the coolest guy in the world.
It. What's the number one thing you learned about mindset or success from W. Clement Stone?
Clem Stone made a statement to me that I had a hard time understanding, but he said, "Success is a decision away." Wow. It was so simple. And I thought, it can't be that easy. Is when you make a decision that you're going to do it, that's it, period. The whole universe goes to work for you. You have to make a decision that you're going to do it. That's it, period. No one's going to stop you. And his face changed. It was like, I don't want to fight this guy. He's 86 years old, but he'll beat the crap out of me with that type of determination. And I realized what he meant. He's 86. He's frail and fragile. I'm young and robust, and I know Kung Fu. Okay, I don't want to get into a fight with him. Because when he said that he was going to do it, that's a period, you could feel the determination that he will not be denied. No one and nothing is going to stop him. That's what it takes to become successful. You have to make that decision. Years later, flash forward, I'm in a swimming pool and I'm with a very wealthy guy worth several $1 billion, big burly guy, hair all over his, not only his chest, but his back, his shoulders, right? Cool guy, right? And he was, we called him Hairy Bear. So he's in the pool and I'm asking him about success. So he comes over, grabs my hair. That's when I had a lot of hair. Grabbed my hair, and I mean like a vice, and shoved me under the water. He's like 260. At the time, I'm like 175 pounds. And I'm kicking and screaming. And I think he's playing until I feel he's not playing. I don't know what's going on. I'm freaking out. And I actually inhale some water. And he pulls me up, and I'm spitting the water out. And I don't know if I'm relieved or if I'm pissed off or if I'm still scared. I have this combination, and he's just laughing. And it took me a while to kind of get my wits about myself. And he says, when you want success as badly as you want it to breathe, that's when you'll get it. And I go, how does this correlate with release attachment to the outcome? And he said, you can't release attachment to an outcome when you aren't committed to that outcome. So you have to want it like this first. You don't live in these states. You visit them. You go through the cycle. So you have to get to the state, just like you had to get to the state of disgust. You don't live there. You go to the next one. So you have to go through all of these. You have to have that type of emotion. And then you have to repeat it again in an hour and then repeat it next tomorrow. It has to be a constant moving thing. It's a movement. It's a movement. Oh my gosh, I could see it in my mind that the universe is constantly rotating and moving. It's not stagnant. And we have to be the same way with our mind and emotions if we're going to create something or manifest something or make something happen.
I love that. And then the last question I have, Kevin, is when you wrote the book, Your Wish is Your Command, How to Manifest Your Dream Life, why did you write the book, and why should people get it if they're interested in changing their life? What can it do?
I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not in the success business. I was a real businessman. I had 3 TV networks in Europe, mining operations in Australia, a whole host of other companies. I did billions in sales and real business before I ever gave one lecture on how to, become successful or organization or communication or anything like that.
How many billions in business have you done?
It's estimated in today's dollars somewhere around 25 billion around the world with all the companies I've been associated with and products that I've been associated with and so forth. Quite a lot, clearly. I'm most known in America for the TV infomercials because that was visible. But most of the other businesses which generated huge money were not visible. They were behind the scenes and not, very public to people. But the reason I wrote this is I had about 100 people that worked for me over the years. And there was one particular gal was my file clerk. She basically was at minimum wage, part-time, filing stuff for me. And she went on to become a multimillionaire in real estate. First, she worked her way up and became president of a couple of my companies, and then went off to build a real estate empire. Because I taught her the principles, and she observed me. She was a fly on the wall watching me. And there has been over 100 people that became millionaires or multimillionaires who were in that, over the years, that either worked for me, observed me, and they used the principles that I taught them. And I didn't teach them everything. I just taught them a few things. So many people just started coming to me saying, teach us. You have no college education. You got no degree. You have no connections. You had no money. You start all your companies out of cash flow from nothing. How do you do it so fast? How do you make all this money? I mean, you do all these successful ventures. It's like, we don't understand. What are you doing? Teach it. So 25 years ago, I went into the Alps and I decided to bring about 100 people in, and I would teach them a system that I learned in the Brotherhood, the 40-point algorithm for success, and say, here's all the pieces of the puzzle. There's nothing else. Everybody else is still making stuff up of what they think works. They don't have any idea. They know about success, but they really don't know. So I'm going to give you the whole thing. And it's not anything I invented. It's what was taught to me. It worked, and I'm going to teach it to you. So I recorded that seminar. It was called Your Wish is Your Command. I had some royalty there, members of royal families who were friends of mine, validating that it worked. I had a few billionaires there, validating that this is the success system that virtually never fails. I had people from politics and a whole bunch of others validating for the people in the room. It's just not Kevin talking. We're his friend. We use it. He taught me and my family. He came to the palace. He taught my kids. He's the real deal. This is the real deal. This is what we use in the highest elite class of people around the world. And if you do it, it'll work as well. So I recorded that, and we sold that recording. First, it was on CDs. Remember CDs? First, it was on CDs. So we sold the CDs for $1,000 or $1,500. And this is 25 years ago. And people loved the CDs. It was the live recording. I went into the studio and cleaned it up a little bit. But it was the live recording. But over the years, people had some questions. So as I was getting the questions, I thought, okay, so maybe that's not 100% clear in the original recording. So I thought, let me write a book where I could fill in all the blanks and basically answer all those questions that people generally have. This common question, so I can clarify it. So that's why I wrote the book. And also the book, when you have a #1 New York Times bestseller, that puts you in a different category than if you have a CD set. Right. So writing the book was significant because it would positively impact more people, allowing you to market it on Amazon and do podcasts like this and do, the Today Show again. I did the Today Show and CBS. I was on a cover of Fortune magazine, front page of New York Times, front page of Wall Street Journal, Howard Stern show, when I came out with all these other books. So
you were on the Howard Stern show?
I was on Howard, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
Howard's
love Howard
cool.
Stern. What was that experience like?
Well,
Sidebar.
Howard was cool because I was introduced to him through Amy Lynn Baxter. I was dating Amy Lynn. She was the only girl to be on the cover of Penthouse and Playboy. And we met through a couple mutual friends. And
you were staying busy in those days.
Yeah, I was staying very busy. I was single bachelor my whole life. Now I'm happily married, which is way better, to a fantastic woman, best friend. She's right over there. Fantastic. So, but back then, Amy Lynn was good friends with Howard because she was in the movie Private Parts that Howard did. And we went to his birthday party and hit it off, and I was on his show, and he was a big fan of the natural cures thing.
That is awesome. And then my last question is, for people who are watching this, inspired, want to follow you, want to connect, they want to grab the book, Your Wish is Command, Your Wish is Your Command, and they have a dream, a goal, a desire, but maybe they feel for whatever reason stuck inside, or maybe they're going to start taking action. Maybe they want to start following the formula. Men, women around the world who are listening to this right now, and they want to take that next step, 1, 2, 3. What would Kevin Trudeau's best advice be to somebody out there? Last piece of advice, if you could give to the world on how to make your dreams a reality, how to get unstuck, and how to finally blast through the limiting beliefs you might live with.
I would say it's different for every single person, and just do the next logical step. Go as far as you can see, and when you get there, you can see further.
What if you see multiple options and you don't know what to pick?
Yeah, then don't pick anything. It's okay a decision isn't yes or no. A decision isn't left or right. Sometimes it's, I'm not going to make a decision right now. It's perfectly okay to go into a state of going, something, I'm not sure. I'm not going to choose.
So when should someone choose?
When you feel the green light.
What if years go by or months go by or weeks go by and you don't feel that green light?
That's probably okay too, because you're not ready. If you don't get that green light.
How can someone get ready then? I don't mean to cut.
Yeah, no, and it's a very legitimate question. This is why if you do the basic things, such as reading positive thinking books, like at my website, I have a whole bunch of books that I recommend. Here's one of them, but there's a lot of other ones too. If you're reading a little bit every day, if you're listening to audio recordings every day, maybe you join a success club, maybe you go to some online masterminds or listen to some speakers, maybe just watch the History Channel and watch the men who built America, the food that built America, and get inspired. Something is going to happen. Or just go for a walk without headphones, without music. Go for a walk in nature. Be around things that have a beauty aesthetic, which is what wealthy people do. They find, whether it's sculpture or art or nature, that have the aesthetic wave of beauty that influences you in a major way. Most people are not surrounded by that aesthetic wave of beauty, which actually acts as a prosperity attractor field generator. And this is what wealthy people do. So there's a whole host of things that people can do to get out of that stuck. You know, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do next. I feel like I'm stuck.
Change the environment, change the energy, go work out of a luxury hotel or go where it's better, whatever it is.
Go to a museum and be surrounded by the aesthetic wave. You may hate it so much you'll get motivated to do something. I mean, seriously, that's what happens. Sometimes you get in there and you just get so agitated. It's like, why am I need to be doing something, but it's you don't know what's happening. You're surrounded, you're actually bathing yourself in the waves, the actual energetic waves of an aesthetic frequency called beauty, and it blows out negative charge in your field, which is why all wealthy people are surrounded by what they classify as beauty. It's an aesthetic. Sure, it's a good investment. It's a good tax write-off. There's a bunch of other reasons too.
Right.
But they understand the power of the aesthetic frequency band that's permeating their body. They understand how that's clearing their field from negativity.
I love that. Thank you so much for being on the show today, my man, and I appreciate you sharing the wisdom. Any final words of wisdom you could share with the audience, or where they can find you here at the Limitless Podcast? Anything else?
I would just tell people this. Just remember, you were born to win. You were engineered for success. You were designed for accomplishment, and you are endowed with the seeds of greatness. Embrace the greatness within you. You have what it takes. Dream big dreams. And remember, don't let anyone ever steal your dreams. You know, all my stuff is available at kevintrudeau.com. We have a whole host of free information there, free reports, training, and so forth. And the book is available, and my personal coaching and counseling is available. All types of information at kevintrudeau.com.
Absolutely. And we'll plug those links in the description down below.
Cool.
Kevin Trudeau, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been a real pleasure.
My pleasure.
And I look forward to doing this potentially again soon. This was fantastic. For those of you guys watching at home, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out kevintrudeau.com. And remember, your wish is your command. We'll put a link in the description down below for you guys to check this out. We'll see you guys on the next inspiring episode. Take care.